And we going live on this thing here. Oh, pardon me. Hey. Well, it says it's streaming on YouTube, but I'm not sure about that yet.
Don't even try it.
And we going live on. I gotta mute this thing. Yeah. All right. I don't need 2 volumes going, right? And live on. This is tarot. Bear with me, guys. One day I'll be really rich and I'll have an assistant do all this for me. And I'll just have to walk in and like sit down and that'll be the end of it, right?
That would be nice.
Oh, my. Alrighty. So the links worked okay for you guys. Yay. Alrighty. And we are, I think, live on TikTok. I think. I don't see anybody. Yeah, okay, there you go. And is the visual, you guys. Great. You guys brought your cards. Oh, we're going to have some fun today. Mary's been having serious tech issues, so if she doesn't show up, don't be too surprised. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We're supposed to be 5. So we'll see what happens. Oh, my favorite sound. The coffee's ready. Hello, TikTokians. How are y'all? Good day to you. All right, we are. It just dawned on me. I've got the camera in the way here. For folks, here you go. So we're simulcasting this, you guys, and you're looking at my wall. That's no fun. Hang on. Let me turn my screen around. Oh, here you are. Hi, TikTok. How you doing? All right, of course, I'm telling everybody that I'm live on here. I am really well, you guys. We are doing this tarot class and stuff on 3 different platforms. YouTube, although I have nobody up there. We are in Zoom, so if you want to actually use voice contact, you can actually talk live to me on there. And the whole point of this exercise is to create a community based around tarot and tarot cards, learn how to use them and how to use them in real life, and how to, sometimes we'll be playing poker with them, you know. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So, all right. So we're expecting 5 people for the group today. This is kind of casual. How you doing, Gus? I haven't seen you in a little while. Can you hear me? Let me turn my volume up. I am microphone there. Try now, Gus. No. Do you have your microphone on mute by any chance? Your headset? You don't know.
I can't hear you, Gus.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I can't hear you, Gus.
I can't hear you either. Nope. Unplug the headset. See if it's the headset.
Can you hear me?
There, now I can hear you.
Now.
What's my headphones?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the party. Cool. Hi, Jessica. Hey, guys. All right.
I'll be leaving at 1 o'clock.
You're leaving at 1, eh?
Yeah, I have an appointment, so.
Cool. Well, that's
sorry. It's in the cards. It's in the cards.
hey, whatever, however it works, right? How how's your tarot study going? Are you you got any questions or anything that you want to work on? Now's the time to jump in there. No?
No, the only thing with myself when I do readings for people, which is, I'm sure you can understand, is whatever you explain to them, at times they feel like it's not what they want to hear, right? It's like they're looking for something like, well, I thought you'd tell me something more, or what I want to hear. I wish you can tell me I am going to meet somebody or not. And I always get that feeling, well, that's what I don't see. It's not part of the formula at the moment, but it's almost like the counselor part of it, where you're thinking, oh, I feel not bad for the client, but you think, well, I'm not going to lie to him or her. It's just not in the works at the moment, you know?
So you're sort of feeling like you're not quite making the connection, the contact with some clients when you're reading for them?
But in a sense, it's usually what's going on, but they don't want to face it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something like,
Right.
well, it shouldn't be your priority right now in your life. Perhaps do something else, and that stuff will come in the meantime, you know? Like,
Yeah.
don't dwell on it so much because you're blocking it. Just do something else. Go somewhere else. Let that just take care of itself, you know? And
right. Okay. So what's your issue? What's your issue that they don't?
There isn't one. I guess it's how I feel about it. Thinking I don't feel as if I gave them what they were expecting. But then that's their expectations.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to start reading between the lines and making things up just to make them happy.
Right, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
What I might suggest, one of the things that I found long time ago when I first started reading professionally, is that somebody would sit down in front of me and they wanted to know if they were going to have a boyfriend, they were going to have a baby, if so-and-so was going to die, if so-and-so was going to get better, if everything is going to work out, if everything's not going to work out, right? I got a whole bunch of people want to see the bottoms of my feet, which is really weird. But point being, you can't be all things to all people. You can only bring to the table what you're really, really good at. So if you can focus on the cards and bring what you're bringing in the cards, one of the expectation things that I bring when I sit down, I should do like a full pro reading for you guys one day so you can see what it actually is, right? But what happens is they don't ask questions right up front. I don't want any questions because they're coming in there with questions and I'm there to read the cards, right? I'm not a psychic. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a, whatever you want to call it, right? I am just there to pick up the cards, look at what the cards say, read. Oh God, I love that. This is Seven of Wands, eh? This is your challenge, dude. This is about the challenge created from the balance, the knowledge and understanding of your gift that you feel. Do you feel that? This is the challenge that you have created for yourself, and it's holding you here. And your next level, right, is to bring that solidity and balance into control for yourself so that this 7 becomes an 8 and you become, that becomes the forward projectile, the movement, the forward movement of the 8. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
I'll drive you crazy with these numbers and the way they go together. This is so.
I get the 7. I get the 7. Yeah.
This is. I keep going back to this. This, my dear, is everything. You guys have seen this. This is the Tree of Life. Hi, Aiden. How are you, sweetheart? All right. This is the Tree of Life. If you guys are not familiar with this and you really want to read tarot, get familiar with this. This is your tarot alphabet. I will come back to this all day, every day, because what's really cool is that you don't even need to know what the cards mean. If you know where the cards sit on this map, you can feel the energy behind the cards and what the cards are presenting, right? And it makes you that much a better reader. And yeah, it's crazy. It's all about the energies of the cards, right? So if they're sitting there going, oh, what I wanted to know if I was going to have a boyfriend. Well, by the time you get to that point in the reading where you have exhausted and the cards start repeating themselves, you know how that moment when the cards start saying the same things over and over again? And you go, okay, time to put down the cards.
Yeah.
That is the moment when you seriously, you stop reading at that point and you say, okay, so you got any questions? And you've already got the cards that you've just done all this reading for. So the answers to every single question these guys are going to come up with is right there, right now on the table, right? So they might say, well, yeah, what about my sister Paulina? And you'll see there's you know, depending on their age or whatever, you'll look on the cards, you'll look for the card on the table that would represent the sister Paulina. Is she a blonde? Is she a brunette? Is she more of a yang kind of person, or is she a yin kind of person, right? And once you know that, you can literally read the energies right out of the cards, and you don't even need to know, you know, what does it mean to have that 8 of Cups sitting right next to the 7 of Wands like that, because when you know where they fall on here, you can see what it takes to make the one become the other, right? Because it's all there. Anyway, we'll get into that as time, because that is seriously, that is a 2-year practice to memorize. We'll let you know that right ahead. But seriously, this is the only way, in my personal opinion, to really learn how to feel your way through these cards. And they're easy to feel. You just pick them up, and well, you can see the emotion that I read when I'm reading. It's because that's the emotion that I'm feeling on the cards, you know, right? And so you want to bring that out. And if the client isn't bringing that to the table, then it's your opportunity to bring their spirit up to the table, right? You got to get them into your, you know, that reading, you get into that, relax into that power energy mode, and you feel like everything is on fire, and you start reading your cards. You got to drag your client into that space with you. Okay. You can't leave them in your head while you're all balanced like this. Otherwise, you might as well be doing cold readings on TikTok.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Which is fun. This is a great way to learn the cards. It's a lot of fun. People really desperately need some kind of guidance in their lives. And the better you are at reading, the more people you can give that guidance to. So the better you read, the better your guidance becomes, right? And bring it. Don't be afraid to bring yourself into the reading. Don't be afraid to bring your own story, your own history you've done, especially if you're reading for somebody much younger, right? You are going to be able to pull that up from within yourself and go, oh, you know what? When I was 17, I did this, and this is the same energy, right? And this is how I came out of it. And look, the energy of the night of whatever the suit was at the time just really exploded out. And look at the results. This is what happened, right? And the ability to bring those cards into the table like that and make them come alive for the person you're reading for, that's the magic of being the tarot reader. That's where the big money is, right?
Where the big money is? Okay.
You think I'm kidding, right? And I don't mean money in the sense of financial gain either, right? It's I take every penny that I make. This thing, the reason that this is so important, what you don't see here, this is what everybody sees. What they don't see is that when this is the meat suit person here, this is what they call makut. On the, can you guys see that all right there on
kind of, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
the last sphere, the bottom
sphere, right? This is the very bottom. This is the meat suit. This is the human being self. Okay, you feel that? All right. Okay, so this is the climb of life to become spirit. It doesn't work like that. It goes the other way, but you know, we're not going to go there. But this is the human being. All right. Hang on, I got.
Can't hear you.
Tina, you're on mute.
You're unmuted.
Self.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, as I was saying, so here Malkut becomes You're underworld. And so, is it still not working? Is it
No,
working?
it is.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. So what happens is instead of spiraling upwards, you have the ability to spiral downwards, right? And whichever way you look at the tree of life, if you're looking at it from the center, from the meat suit point of being, right? This is the Fool card. If you look at it in its completion, okay, because it is, you can go anywhere from there. And it literally, it's a 3D thing. It really is, right? And it can go in any direction. And life is really cool because I learned just last week and a half ago with Wackadoos in Ottawa. Pardon me if you're one of the guys that's on the group there, but holy crowley, that's not how democracy works, human beings, please. I was so out of sorts by everything that was going on around with that, and I couldn't move forward. And I'm all about constant, never-ending improvement. I always want to be better. I will always want to be bigger, faster, stronger than I was yesterday. And if I'm not that, I go in, I use the cards to fix whatever it is that isn't working, right? And that's what's, I mean, I live with these. These are, I will ask, I'll go read these cards before I sit down in a business meeting, go, what are we meeting about? And I go in there ready, aware of what I'm about to be blindsided with, right? But I've been foolish enough to actually use the cards to ask if there's milk in the fridge, which is really funny because Jules Anthony just asked, hey, do you do readings? And Kitcha Purina says she's teaching how to do tarot correctly. And here I am using them to buy milk, right? But no, for real. I mean, I've been using them so long. It's like, if I'm out of sorts, if I'm in a bad mood, I just pick these up and I just shuffle them. And all is right with the world. Okay. And it doesn't even have to be these. It could be I could be out somewhere and I go, and suddenly something happens that knocks me out of sorts. And I go, hey, you don't happen to have a deck of cards, do you? And I'm like, what, like poker deck? Yeah, that'll work. That'll work for me. All I gotta do is shuffle, right? Very cool. Anyway, so yeah, so the trick is really don't let them control the meeting. You have to control it, right? And if you are aligned and balanced and walking into that, and you can pull their energy down into that control and balance and make them comfortable and relaxed, that's your better place to start. Read the cards, tell them what you need to tell them, let the cards do the work up front. And then once all your cards are laid out on the, I don't know how you lay out your spread, if you do a spread or you do, I just do random cards and then
So do I, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll pull, like I'll do 3 to 5 cards to start, and then I might do 3 cards, might do 5 cards, depends on how I feel as the cards are going down. But I'm always looking for the power energy, like say for example, let me pull you some crazy cards here. Here, Jules Anthony, if you're still in the TikTok chat, I'm going to pull 3 cards for you and show you my gang here, what I'm talking about. Oh, wow. She got a Fool card right out of the gate, guys. Followed by the 8 of Wands and the Aeon, which is all about really being nervous about listening to the call of the universe, right? What was the point of pulling the cards? Was to show you how to, I don't need to know what her question is. I can tell her where she's going based on what the cards are saying, right? So she doesn't need to know, what am I going to do about whatever I'm freaking out about, right? And freaking out is maybe not the right word because these are really positive cards, by the way. But here's this brand new journey. Is this going to school? Is this starting a new job? Is this having a new baby? This is a life-changing new journey. You feel that? So it doesn't matter what they're doing. Now I've done all the readings, right? The cards are all down. What's important in here is the self-motivation behind the whole thing, opening up the world if only you freaking listen to yourself. Do you feel that energy? All right. If I'm using them to buy milk, I'm definitely doing it right. All right. So who was I? Jules, if you got any questions about these cards, this is just trust your heart and go. Whatever this is, do it. This is magical. What a crazy, crazy, lovely journey to be about to embark upon. So I do the reading, blah, blah, blah. And now the cards are down here on the table, right? Obviously, the most important card in here in reference to my sitter's journey here depends on the perspective, right? So now the sitter turns around and says, oh, poor thing, didn't hear all that I am saying. See, that's why I simulcast this, guys, on YouTube and on Zoom. So Zoom is way better experience, right? Okay, so the things are on the table, and she says, oh, well, what about my son? Because he's the reason that I came to have this reading, right? So then let's say that these are the cards. These are no longer your cards, by the way. I'm not even sure they're still sitting there watching, but so they say, well, what about my son? And I can look at this and I go, part of the journey is to release what went before, right? This is starting anew. This is going forward. So this in such a situation, this would scream of cut the apron strings. Do you see that? Right? Or what if they said, oh, well, what about, no. Well, I'm about to start, I wrote my exam I've been called to the bar. I'm not sure I'm going to be a good lawyer. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to bring to the table what I want to bring. Do you feel it? It because of the intense forward movement of these cards, this one slows it down and pulls it back. Do you feel that? And that's the trick to the cards, is to feel them. And you feel the way the energy goes. When you lay them out on the tree, you can see where the energy goes. So let me get this. So I have not got this layout committed to the memory. So I keep it on one of my tabs on my computer. So I'm just going to, how am I going to do this? I don't want to lose this page in case somebody comes in for the chat on YouTube. So let's pull this out of here. And I'll have that all the time. Bear with me, you guys. So I'm not sure if they're going to even ask a question, but that's all right too. Where are we going? What in God's name was I doing? Oh, the thingy. All right. So the first thing that I'm looking for, what were the cards? All right. So the Fool card is, you think you know where they are by now, eh? I always look for them. I have to look for them and look for them and look for them. Right. Okay. So the Fool card, because it's transitionary, it's on a transition between the original seed idea, which is Kether, okay, and Chakra, which is the beginnings. These are the twos. This is the energies of stuff coming together or coming apart. These are the twos. So these are the things that either work, right? Mary can't get in. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can. How am I going to do this? Hey, hey, can one of you guys in the Zoom room? One of you guys, Gus, you have Mary on Facebook. Can you give her the Zoom room link and see if she's just maybe using the wrong link? Very Mary-ish.
Do I have the Zoom link? That's the question.
Yeah, top on the Zoom window, if you go into the top left-hand corner, there's a little green shield. Click on it. There's a copy link. Just paste that into whatever, and she should be able to get in here post haste. We hope. Hey, make a stitch.
Oh, I thought that was Mary.
What's that?
I thought that was Mary. It's Jessica. She's back.
Oh. Yeah, with that link, you don't need a password to get in. It just automatically comes in. That's why I'm using the That's why I use Meetup to register everybody. Then I don't have to worry about the link. It automatically gets
So
delivered.
I guess I have to leave you to go on her page, on the messenger page.
Yeah,
So
you
I
can
have
just shrink the size of the window, and you should have your browser open
Okay.
still, and then just go on to, I don't know, Messenger or Facebook,
Yeah.
however you talk to the woman.
Okay. Bear with me. Yeah.
No worries, take your time, and I'll come back to this. 'Cause this is really cool. I'll go back to looking for the other two cards. I know where. Yeah. Eventually, I figure, 20, 30 years in, eventually you might actually memorize where all these fall on the chart. But, there it is. It just seriously takes time, and you have to memorize them. Now what?
Okay.
All right. Where was I? So yeah, so we're looking at the transition between Kether and Chakma. And then because it is followed by the 8th, which are here, and they're in Hod. And Hod's a different energy, right? It's a forward movement, and it is so it's really going either this way or this way or this way, but typically it would be coming out of the balance this way and then moving closer into the solidity of the situation. And then of course this one, which this is not a card I get very often, you guys. This is a really, where the heck are you hiding?
No, I'm still on. Okay.
You can't find her, right? Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
And so it comes down here. So it's going this way, right, into Makut. So there's the way that the energy flows comes from the Tiferet through the Hod to the Makut. So there's an element of completion that comes if the spirit is allowed to flow. You feel that? See how that works? Anyway, that's why memorizing that thing is so important. So, and I will drop you the link for the one that I keep on my desktop into the chat. Oh, it is. I was like, oh my God, I forgot to. It's recording on TikTok and it's recording on, I don't need to record Zoom because TikTok is recording, or not TikTok, YouTube is recording, I think. I hope. We'll find out. Oh, I hope not. Oh, there we are. Chat. Voila, there's the link. And if you guys in TikTok want the link, send me a DM in TikTok and I will type the link out for you guys. All right. Well, pretty well, make a stitch. Thank you for asking. All right. So is this thing working? There's only 4 people in the TikTok now. Well, that's always fun.
Sent Mary something on Messenger, but she hasn't looked at it yet. The message. She hasn't opened it.
Oh, gee. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can send her a message.
I don't have her text number, so.
Oh, wait. She's trying to get me up. See, I'm not logged in. Oh, maybe I am. Look at that. I am logged into Facebook. There you go. All right, hold up. Bear me. Gonna copy link and she didn't. I'm assuming didn't get the email for the chat. So there you go. Anyway, hopefully she show up now. It's the best I could do. Wow. Okay. All right. So, any questions?
Nobody has questions?
It's just the 2 of you. Well, there may be questions in the chat, but this thing is always takes its time doing its thing, and nobody said actually anything in several minutes. But although Katia Purina is sending me all kinds of likes, which is real cool. Did I read for you? Do you want me to read for you? I could do.
Before you continue, this group now, is this something that we'll be doing every Wednesday at noon? Is this
every other Wednesday and every other Thursday in between.
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
And that gives me the flexibility I need for work. And it gives you guys the ability to, maybe Wednesday isn't good, maybe Thursday's better. And then the schedule you'll see is on the Meetup.
Okay.
It shows the dates. I will let you know if any of those change. But those I have to roll those over every week in Meetup, which is why doing it direct in Zoom is way better. But unless I get everybody on board to go into Zoom, we're doing multi simulcast, right? So it is what it is, but it's fun. So there you go. Oh, wow. Well, let's show you something about tarot then. Kitia says, I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong, but it's spelled really pretty. She says she's just listening because she was thinking about starting to do tarot and she doesn't know anything about it. So we're going to do a quick reading for them. And yeah, and I'll show you. And while I do that, guys, I'm going to continue teaching how the cards work with the energy, how the energies flow, because that's the whole point of the exercise, right? And tarotphenoms.com. If you guys want to join us, get on the mailing list. I send out reminders for the classes. And of course, you can always watch on TikTok. You just gotta suffer through the loveliness that TikTok, the platform is, which is really not, it disconnects way too readily, unfortunately. And I can't put it on the PC, so there it is. There. All right. So, Kitty, there you go. Oh, Knight of Pentacles. 5 of Swords. Get out of your head. Oh, 9 of. Oh, this is great. So, yeah. View. Okay, so I don't know if you've been offered a job or if this is. So the Knight of Pentacles, guys. This is to feel the Pentacles is the solidity, right? So the energy itself says to me, this is a job. This is something physical. Maybe somebody wants to lose weight. Maybe somebody wants to gain weight, but it is something very physical. And when you look on the chart, you can use the flow from the Knight to the next card, which is actually the 5 of Swords, right? And the Knights are fast moving action cards. And the 5 of Swords is really about chaotic thought, okay? Ideas. Sometimes it's needles, sometimes it's surgery, right? Sharp things, often intellectual things, and then followed by but it's chaotic. It's all over the place, right? Because it's a 5. It's coming out of balance. So something good and solid created a jumping off point for this, and it's all over the place, right, Kitty? Oh, Kitty just had surgery. There you go. Well, oh, really? Did you, was it none of my business, but if it was it a stomach staple or something along those lines? Because whatever it was, you are getting whatever you wanted to come out of this is coming out of this. This baby, this is the wish card. You can't get a better card to come out of a surgery with, all right? So the 5 of Swords is if you're coming out of surgery. So usually I would expect to see coming out of a surgery, I would expect a 4 of Swords. So the 5 suggests to me that there are complications slightly. I would take a really close eye on, keep a close eye on it, do everything the doctors told you to do, and make sure that you do it religiously, and this will work out in your favor. All right. So now, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. But now I'm going to talk to the other guys about how these cards can be used in a reading to answer other questions that somebody might have that didn't come up in the conversation. Right. Okay. So let's say these are the cards. You with me, Gus?
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So the first card becomes, so if he says, if the sitter says, okay, well, what about my kids? You go, okay, well, do you have a son? This would represent the son, right? Because it's young and it's fast, right? He's on good solid feet. She doesn't have to worry about the sun, right? She can look at the other cards that came with the sun. And when this becomes the sun, right? And these cards represent everything. Snapshot of the human being's essence, their very energy is in these cards as we put them down on the table, right? If you get into that zone and you pull them into it with you, there are their cards. That is them right there, this moment. Do you feel that? You feel that, Kitty? This is all about you, right? So you can take the energy here. You look between the 5 and the 9. What's missing, guys? Think of it from a numerological standpoint. And you're missing the 4, the balance, the solidity, right? So you got to let it heal. Half now healing, now training. You be very careful with the training. If you're talking about physical working out on the training, you be very careful with it. You don't want to re-injure something, okay? Be super, super careful and be religious about taking care of it. You do not need complications. I don't know how difficult or complicated that surgery was, darling, but be very, very careful and take care of it really, really well. Watch for drainage because it's a cup, it's a liquid. Watch for drainage or, you know, but it's going to work out all in the end. I don't know if this has happened yet or is happening, but I would definitely take a close look at that. All right. So do you feel the momentary issue of this card? There's Mary. Now, is it going to let her in or do I have to let her in? There you go. Where's the Zoom meeting? There you go. Did she get in?
Yep. She's
there
muted.
we go.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, oh, hey, KM. Thank you very much. All right, Kitty, good luck with that, honey. Let me know how that works out. And yeah, so do you see how that works? You take the cards and you can ask them any question that didn't come up that you didn't see, and you can pull what you need to see out of their cards already. Do you feel that? And it makes your readings that much more concrete and that much more relaxed, right? So then they're not expecting anything because you've already given them everything in the moon before they even get to their question. And sometimes their question is answered before whatever their unanswered question might be. Did you catch that? Did I lose you guys?
No, we're just we're in awe.
We're in awe. God love you. Hey, Mary, how you doing? My partner in crime.
Partner in crime that's having issues like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, yes, I would. Absolutely, I would. I would. Hey, if I am having this much, absolutely everything falling into place and perfection coming into my existence, somebody's got to be getting kicked in the arse by the energies. You know what I'm saying? It goes around, eh?
Well, the energies have not been very pleasant last couple of weeks.
I know. Oh my God. Is anything left retrograde? Hey, Gail, how are you?
No, there is no real retrograde. There are a lot of planets doing silly things, but this is heavier than retrograde energy.
We were talking about numerology and how the year aligns, and on the start day of World War I, on the start day of World War II, and on the start day of this Ukrainian thing, all 3 days numerologically come out as 5s. Okay. And so we were looking at it, except the first 2 came together as a 3 and a 2, adding to make the 5. And this new one came together as a 1 and a 4. But you know what I think of 4s, right? So 4s are like democracy. And so it's the 1 creating democracy, and the chaos is the democracy coming together. So I'm really excited about what is unfortunately happening in Ukraine right now. But there it is. All right. So let me see. I was KM Walshy. I think I said, yep. And so do you get the idea how the how you pull those energies after without the question? Once you need to ask the question though, Gus? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So let me see. I got, oh, what are you trying to put together? I got the Chariot. Followed by the Death card. Look at me using the top. I'm insane here. and the Eight of Wands. This is a question of your control. And your first two cards here are really, really about control. You want control, you don't want control. I'm not sure which one you want here, but you seem to be in a conflict with yourself, because the Chariot leading into a control card, like the Death card, is control fighting with control. So you're at loggerheads. It's like, are you fighting to take control of something over which you do not have any right to have any control over? Or are you in a position where somebody else has? Yeah, okay, but it's a control thing, right? So what happens here? Here's the beauty of the way that the cards work, okay? When the energies flow together like this, and feel what I'm talking about here, Gus, because this is so important when you're sitting down looking at
Oh,
it.
this is for me. Okay.
Oh yeah, well, I'm reading for KM Walsh's cards. These are her cards, right?
Oh, okay.
But when you get two cards, right? Both of these cards are about control, right? Do you see that? You feel that this one's about making two things work well together, right? And this one is about who's in control. Am I in control and I want to be in control, or I'm not in control and I don't want to be in control? Wait, it's the upside down one, right? Like this is the card of the average normal human being would find being in this position uncomfortable. So this could be the position of somebody being in under the thumb of somebody else and they want to be in control, or they are in control and they want somebody else to be in control because the control makes them a prisoner. Okay. Whereas this one is the control wants to be in control. I want to dictate the way these horses are running, and the horses don't want to cooperate. So when the two of these, because they're all about control, and they come together, where do you go with that, right? This is the overriding energy that's going to come in and dictate why this person cannot take control. They can't take control because I'm not sure that they want to take control. Do you feel that, Kimmy? All right. You're afraid to make the decision. You have to make this decision. You don't make this decision, you're going to sit here spinning your wheels and spinning your wheels and spinning your wheels. Do you see how it goes around and around? Do you feel the energy? You see that? Right. And then you say, okay, how do, right? Because everything's energies. It's all flows, right? It's like water. Water goes where water drags it, right? If you get a rivulet of water running down a mountain, all the water is going to come down that same rivulet, right? It's the same thing with all the other energies in the universe flow the same way. So here's the control question. What is the answer? Kimmy, you got to feel your way out of this. You really got to drop the rock and really relax into this. You know everything that you need to know. You really just got to trust your own personal inspiration, because this is just going to drag you everywhere where you want to go. And this is just spinning your wheels. Do you feel that? So you see how this energy of directional, this is on fire, right? So it very specifically is forward movement. And because it's the 8 of fire, it's forward movement and it's up, right? So where this is going in circles and spinning itself, what does this do? What does this do, Gus? It throws
it's the power card, yeah.
Yes. And where does it go? It goes up. So Kimmy, make the decision. Freaking do it, because this is just spinning your wheels. Go after. Get going. Get gone. Right? Feel that? And when you feel, you don't even need to know what the freak this card means, because you can look at it and see that this guy is trying to drive a chariot, and they're two different colored chariots. And when you got two different energies, you'll see two different colors, right? So they want to go different ways. One might want to go up while the other one wants to go down, right? And the cards tell you what they mean all by themselves. But when you can take them and superimpose them on that tree of life, you can see literally which way the energies are flowing, right? So that's why I'm such a big proponent of that, especially for learning how to use them. I wish I had found this methodology 40 years ago, because I would have saved myself years and years of sitting there going, oh, card of the day, 5 of Swords. Okay, right about the journals, the paper, the trees that I must have killed. And I could have done this in, all I got to do is look at that tree of life.
But you had to live it. You also
Well,
had to
no.
live.
This
You
is true.
couldn't have done it if you hadn't lived.
This is true. But at this point, I got the gift of, hey, this is the easiest way to learn the cards, because you don't even really need to do them.
Are you referring again to the tree of life, or?
Well, okay. So the base you need to know the 4 suits. And you need to understand that the 4 suits each have their own energy, right? We'll go over that real quick.
Yeah.
You know that. Everybody, I'm going to go over that because it's the course, right? That's the whole point. Make sure I cover them all. I've got a pentacle. I got a cup. I got a wand. I got a sword. There you go. All right. So when you've got the 4 suits, right? So you got the swords. Swords are intellectuals, they're thought, they're air. And I have to give you a caveat here quickly, because I see swords as air and I see wands as fire. Okay. And some people impose them. So for some people, swords are fire and wands are air, but they don't feel like that to me. They feel like fire. Fire is hot and fast and it burns. And if you've ever seen a wildfire burning, man, you know what the Knight of Wands looks like in real life, man. It is intense and it is hot and it is powerful, right? So that is the energy of wands. The sword itself is the energy of the air, because it's thoughts and intellectual ideas. And what do you think about that? Thinks and thoughts, right? But the two cross over very, very often, because they very, very often fall into the same sort of field, right? They'll both represent medical sorts of things. One is spiritual healing, the other is physical healing. One is intellectual healing, and the other one becomes possibly, I've seen it as bone knitting. Okay. The cards feel the way that they feel based on how they fall into the reading, right? And so if you can't feel the way the 2 energies fit together, you lay them down on that tree of life, and the tree will tell you which way the energy is moving, if it's moving. Right? The other thing you can do is look at the numerology in the cards. And if you don't really need to know much about numerology, but if you know what a 1 represents and you know the numbers from 1 to 10, then you've got the other part of your tarot card, because you see the progression of the 1 going through the numerology to the top. And I've yet to see any of the numerology systems be completely different.
The easiest in numerology would be just making something. You start at 1, the idea of you're going to make something, and it goes through different steps. You have 10 steps. At 10, you finished it, and you're going to start again. Right. So if you're going to make a cake, you have to gather all your energies. You have to put everything together. And at some point, it's either going to flub or not. And you're going to decide whether to take it, throw it out, or go back and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the easiest way to look at numerology, or sequencing, actually.
Oh, this is cool. I have
It's a bit like the other numerology as well, is looking at the court cards. If you look at the court cards, basically you've got to learn something. It's you human, as opposed to process of what's going on in the 1 to 10. So you human are going to start learning something, whether you're a child or you're going into a course or whatever. You start at one place, then you learn about it, then you practice what you've learned, and you actually know and become the expert in whatever it is. And of course, you know better than everybody else.
Of course.
You know, and so you've gone from being a page to being a king. very quickly. It's the easiest way to explain court cards.
Right. What I like about, so that's what I like about this is when you lay the court cards into their place on the Tree of Life, you can see the flow of energy between the cards. You can see what the card represents in the situation, right? So when you've got, if you've got well, they flow this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And it's so it's 3D. It's 3D. Picture of it like this. It's a great big circle, right?
A spiral.
Yeah. And so the ones, in spite of the fact that we sort of see everything growing up, they actually come down to earth. And on the underside, I like to think of these underneath side as the negative, the reverse cards, right? If you're gonna read them, you want to see them like that. But when you're a good guy, that becomes up. Do you follow? Right? Or sorry, when you're a bad guy, like if you're Lex Luthor, this is up, right? Because you are becoming all of the power of all of the meat suit without the spirit. And if you're doing it the usual way, the goal, everybody thinks the goal is ascension, right? We all want to become Jesus Christ. Well, that progression is literally shown in the cards, right? That is the journey. The journey is the being born, walking through life, getting older, dealing with the challenges, and the whole thing is just progresses through each of those cycles, each of those energies. And if you look at it seriously, I'll tell you what, I really do love showing off this book, you guys. This is a very controversial theory about physics that says that you can really, when I read this, I thought, oh my God, this is insane, because not only can I feel and see these energies that I read for everybody in the cards, here they are, duplicated in the universal planetary energies, right? If you guys can find this book, this man through this guy is seriously going to change things.
Okay, can you just hold it still for a couple of minutes so we can write down the I'm watching Gus go.
And the backwards universal physics theory, you guys.
Got it.
All righty.
Okay, who is it by?
Oh, Benoit Launier. Nice French fella. But I don't know if he has any connection to tarot or if he's just into astrophysics, but I'll tell you what, there's really the science. I don't care how freaky deaky you want to get about your tarot cards and your spiritual pursuit of the cards here. The math has got to work. 1 + 1 is always 2. All right. And except when it's 3, and then don't test that because you won't be able to prove that anyway. So yeah, that's side trips and all that. We won't even go into those because that's not in this. We're not trying to manipulate the extra worldly energies. We are trying to manipulate these worldly energies, right? So, what do you? Oh, Mary and I, you guys. Here's the other book. This thing is insanity. This is
Yeah,
like
Robert Place.
Oh,
This is his expanded version of the original book he had.
Yeah. Well, this is the third
Quickly,
edition.
what I like about him is he actually does the art, and he works from the medieval representations of religion, if you want, and everything else. So a lot of things that are in his idea of what the tarot is, it's based on medieval rituals, medieval things that really almost anybody who's been in the Catholic system would understand bits and pieces of.
Yeah. So
Okay,
he
so
covered-
it really goes back to understanding where all this came from. Don't forget, it was the 1300s, late 1300s, when
Mhm.
the system was started
Yeah.
for a particular reason. And I really like his pageantry aspects of it. I really like a lot of other things. And of course, you can adapt almost any psychological theory to tarot, no matter what you do. You know?
Well, what I like about it is Robert's been working very, very much with Mary K. Greer, who
Yeah,
you guys
well, it's
may or
historical.
may know about, and the two of them have been like digging into and researching. They're working with Rachel Pollack as well, and oh my God, the history that these people are managing to
Yeah.
dig up is so incredibly crazy. But yeah. It's anyway, so those are my two favorite books right about now, because I'm sort of I'm working on the alchemy of the whole play with this thing. But hey, if you're Jewish, guys, or you can read Hebrew, you are 22 letters ahead of everybody else, right? Because this is based on the Hebrew alphabet.
I think locally, David Lacopo, you know him?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's very much into that, eh?
Yeah. He's very much into other things, meditation amongst other things and everything else. And what I like about him, he's taken it down to elementary school level.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. And that to me is very, very good. He's actually been trying to teach tarot reading to little kids, you know, which is what
innocent minds, eh? Clear minds.
Yeah. I know that when I've worked with kids, it's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I'd be teaching the Sephiroth to.
No. You do it. First of all, they're much more intuitive readers.
Yeah.
And they will see things in a completely different way. Adults want to learn things in structure and system because that's the way they've been taught to learn.
Yeah.
Whereas kids will look at it and go, but I see this.
Right.
You know, and they're not wrong.
No, they never are. That's really
the point.
That's how I teach my cards, right? If you feel something when you're reading, and that's so important, you feel something or you think something, I'll hear a song repeat in my head, say it out loud. It's part of the reading. I guarantee you it's got some meaning.
But as adults, we tend to question everything that comes through because, you know, we've been taught so many lessons and so many rules. And also there's a lot of things that we harbor within ourselves that wasn't quite taught, but has been part of our, I would say, spiritual DNA, if you want, or anything else, things that the baggage we've come with. So, you know, when it comes to intuition and all the rest of it, there's a lot of structures that we don't get still because of the sort of like we've been cut off from a lot of things. And what we're learning as adults is to break down those aspects and reassess ourselves to the point of understanding, yes, I am right. I don't know where I got it from, but I'm right.
Yeah.
Whereas the kids don't question it. They know. You know, it blurts out. Whereas, well, can I say that? They might not be happy with that. You know, I mean, there's a lot of that kind of censoring going on in the head.
And at the end of our adult journey, it's to become that child again. You know?
Well, like, you know what? It's not to become that child again, but to have what they call a child's mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. In other words, we've been taught to be part of society and grow up and not to be ourselves. And that starts with what, 6 months? If you look at the way we socialize children.
Yeah.
So we, you know, the first 7 years of our lives, or maybe 8 years, according to the church, whatever, we are basically sponges. We're in hypnotic state. The brain is actually in a hypnotic state. This is part of what they found out in psychology. So all the impressions are coming in with no barriers. The problem is that after about the age of 7, we start to question that because the brain has grown and it's now learning other ways of thinking. And all of a sudden, our impressions become sort of marred in our perceptions. So we don't have that idea of everything is open or whatever, we start to question and say, well, mommy doesn't like this and daddy doesn't like that, and, you know, and then it goes on from there. The teachers start to bang your fingers, and, you know, that's the problem.
Please no.
Sorry, I have to let you go. Like I mentioned earlier, my time is up. I know. I have to go get my full $100 car key.
Oh my God, are you kidding? Oh, that's crazy.
Well, at least you've got one.
Yeah, I need a second. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
I'll see you
Good luck with the
either
key.
next
and-
Thursday or the Wednesday following. Okay.
Yeah. All right. You have a great day.
Ciao, ladies.
Take care.
Ciao.
Nice to
Bye,
see you
everybody.
guys.
Bye.
All
Bye-bye.
right. All right. So should we pull another couple of cards?
Sure.
What do you think? Jessica, do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts about
Jessica's
she's
muted
gone?
herself.
She's muted herself. Are you there, Jess?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just in the kitchen.
Ah, hello,
Dinner.
hello.
Hi. Ugh.
So do you have go ahead.
I don't really have any questions. It's just I'm still trying to get over the self-doubt of me being able to read them, really.
That's practice. It's really just
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what I like to do with the cards. So this is really cool. And I do this every time I get a brand new deck, because I don't know how the voice of a deck is going to talk to me. I don't know what the cards, how they're going to want to talk to me, which is why I usually don't read with this deck for anybody except for me.
This
And
is why they
I
have
agree.
a little spread called interviewing your deck.
yeah, yeah. And I
It's the same idea.
yeah.
You don't
so
have to have a
basically-
spread per se.
No,
You know,
well,
you
what-
just play with it.
Yeah, so I'll show you how I do it. So I'll take the deck like this and I'll ask the cards something that I already know the answer to, right? So for example, I know where I am in a specific work project that I'm going on. So I'm going to say, okay, well, how does that look in the cards, right? And hopefully the cards aren't going to go flying all over the floor and do a 52 card pickup because I'm playing with them. Yes, I know we're playing games. All right. The cards don't like you playing games with them because they don't care, right? Like I read politics in my cards all the time. And when I read them wrong, I go, well, what the hell happened there? And the cards go, well, I don't give a shit. I don't read politics. This existence doesn't exist for me, right? So yeah, so don't trust the cards when it comes to politics, by the way. Where was I going with that? Oh, so trusting the cards, right? So you're gonna say, how's that specific project that I'm thinking about? How's it doing? I know it's doing really well, and it's sort of stalled in the minute, but slowly moving forward, and it looks to be really, really big and powerfully in my favor. So how do the energies behind that look? Just like where it is right now, not where it's going, but where it is right now. And so I can pull out a card and it tells me, I got the Justice card, which tells me that everything is rolling along just as it's supposed to be going. Could be good, should be coming along great, but this is where we are, right? What is, I know my mom is in a really, really bad space. So I want to ask, I'll say, how does my mom look in the cards? And I try to avoid doing cards like that. I won't read questions like that for somebody else. Okay. And the reason you probably heard me say before is because of that death thing. You start reading for people who are sick and ask the cards, are they going to get better? Getting better and getting dead look the same, exactly the same. Okay. So be careful with that. So how does my mom look today? Right. And so then I got a Six of Swords reversed. So she's in a bad space. She's really but she's sort of comfortable. And she's not about to die yet, but she thinks she's about to die. And we just got 2 months on it. So this is like she's really afraid to die. I think it's because she believes that she's going to be tortured to the 7th level of hell before she passes over and becomes all that in a bag of chips. But yeah, so yeah, she's afraid to die. This is what that tells me, right? And so you can look at the cards that way, Jess, and the cards will teach you the words, right? Like, yeah, let me show you. This is fun. What does COVID look like? Have you ever seen COVID in your cards? What does COVID look like? And this COVID has changed over the months too, as it's gotten different and evolved. I've gotten different cards for it. So what does COVID look like? Oh, this is interesting. This is a Page of Swords. So this suggests to me that what I already believe to be the thing, COVID is like, it's a question of vaccinations, right? It's like, did you get vaccinated? That's COVID. That's if you haven't get vaccinated, shame on you, because you really need to get vaccinated, guys. That's COVID is gonna get you if you're not vaccinated, right? So you can pull the energies, Jess, in the cards and just practice and play with the cards yourself. Do you want to try that with something?
Okay, I was just going to interject. Jessica, do you play with Pendulum?
No, but I
have one.
Because one way to sort of build up your intuition is also to play with the pendulum.
Yeah, this is
find out what your yes and your no are, and then just play with it, asking questions, because all it gives you is yes, no, and maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I get from pendulums myself though? I get really pretty bracelets because I get nothing. My grandmother was amazing with it. I get nothing.
Well,
and again, it's practice, right?
Yeah, all it is practice. It took me a while to figure it out. And I'm going to use this one. This is the one.
Cool.
I like this one. It's made of wood.
All right. So I'm just going to
because what happens is it also depends on what it's made of that works for you. I mean, you can have literally, a ring on a string or whatever, or a plumb line that they use in, how do you call it, building or whatever. So this is the one I use. And if I ask what is a yes, it goes this way. And what is a no, it goes that way. So that's the first thing you establish. And then after that, you start asking questions where you know the answer to, just like Tina was doing before.
Yeah,
so is it raining outside?
Is it raining?
And I
outside?
get a no. Is it sunny outside?
So wait. So you ask the pendulum to tell you what is a yes?
Yeah, that's the first thing. You have to establish what a yes and a no are.
Okay. So
if you don't do that, then then you have no language.
Okay, but does it's got to be like dead still, right?
Yeah, show me a yes.
All right.
It's going in circles at the moment because you are not. Okay. But basically that's it. You have to focus. You have to focus on not so much on the pendulum as much as on your question. Or in this case, you want to be in charge of the pendulum and say, okay, this is what you're going to tell me. Every time I use, you want a yes answer, it's going to go in one direction only. And if it's going around in circles, it's because, again, that's, it could be that, but basically, the mechanics
Mary,
behind
but I'm
it.
sticking with my cards. This is never going to work for me. Makes a pretty bracelet, though.
Yeah, as a
Go
bracelet,
ahead,
it's fine. But anyway, like I said, a yes and a no.
Cool. How long have you been using a pendulum, Mary?
Not that long. Actually, I've played with cards more than I've played with a pendulum.
Mm.
I only started using the pendulum when I started learning soul realignment, where almost everything is through the pendulum.
Soul realignment. Is that what Katrina Wynn teaches? The soul realignment.
Pardon?
The soul realignment. Who are you learning that through?
Andrea Hess is the one that sort of put it together.
All right.
And what was interesting is that every time I sort of questioned her knowledge, quote unquote, I would get answers from Google and whatever that would corroborate what she was saying in many different ways. So I find that It works for me, and
Okay.
it works for the people I've used it with. It's basically a way of finding out some of the dust that's in the way that you've picked up over many lifetimes. That's the best way to put it.
Okay.
You know, it's an energetic thing.
There you go.
Yeah, it's an energetic thing, and we all have times when we are with it or not with it, you know, in alignment, as you would say.
Yeah.
And when you're not in alignment, it's all that dust that's getting in the way. In other words, in this particular lifetime, you have picked the situation where you are trying to unlearn, relearn, or remove what you've picked up in previous situations.
Right.
And so are you playing the game the same way? In other words, are you in a rut? Or are you aware of it and trying to remove yourself out of it?
Mm.
And don't forget, the trauma that you call it inception trauma is actually an older thing. And what happens, like in my case, when all this nonsense blew up, it hit me at a level that was so deep that it's become more, not so much my trauma, as much as my ancestral trauma.
Oh,
It's
cool.
through the DNA.
Right, right. I know a couple of people that work with ancestral traumas.
Yeah.
I am.
This is not, I mean, this is just one aspect of soul realignment, though,
Yeah.
because we picked up this body,
Mm.
and this body has a certain DNA that's gone through its own history and genetics and all the rest of it. So you are in a situation where you have a choice of moving forward or staying in your hole. And that's
Okay.
why I said, like, for me, that it was so deep and so hard to deal with what was happening the last 2 weeks. I'm finally sort of at the stage where I can be normal, more or less. I don't think I've fixed anything, but at least I know what is the problem.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
that's-
and
that's
that's
the
also
idea,
through my
right?
soul realignment issues that, I mean, I haven't done the actual clearing work and all the rest of it that's involved with it for myself at this point, because I'm still, you know, the Queen of Swords has to take the time to sort it all out.
Hey, you have to put it together. You definitely
Yeah.
have to make it real, right? That's what the queen is
Yeah.
all about. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, like, it's taken me time. I'm not a fast, how do you call it, manifester.
Mm.
But one of the things that part of the soul realignment is also understanding how energetically you are composed.
Right.
The soul is composed of certain fields and certain things. Some people are Mother Earth, if you want, and are, you know, the givers, the Empress and whatever. That's one kind of a person. And then you have others that are much more linear, if you want. And that's
yeah.
a different kind of person.
Yeah. And
But-
then you have the people that live way down here. And I like to think
Yeah.
of them as the NPCs, you know?
Yeah.
And
But you know, basically it actually moved a lot of things that were disparate in my world
Mhm.
into one world. Take
Oh,
a German
cool.
to put it all together.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, well, that's the whole point of it, right? And
Yeah.
and one of the things that I find too with the cards is that based on what we know, what we experience, what we're taught by our families, our community, and everything else,
Yeah.
we have ideas and thoughts and processes that are in there that if we never allow ourselves to rewrite, I like to rewrite my thought processes quickly, regularly, because I'll go back and go, wait a minute. I have thought like this forever.
Yeah, because
let's
you're
change
more
the
aware,
thinking.
Tina, you're more aware of a lot of things. A lot of people
Yes.
are in autopilot.
Well, that's why they pay me to read for them, because
Yeah.
they are on
But this,
autopilot.
I
know
mean,
that.
this,
Hi,
the
Josh.
cards actually started me in, well, no, they didn't start. They were one aspect of what I was doing for ages. But what I'm trying to do with the other modality is try to work a system that actually integrates all of it together in one. Because the work of the soul realignment, a lot of it is what, you know, you would call going into the Akashic record, but every time you tap into intuition, you're in the Akashic record. So,
Right.
like it's a matter of understanding how to go and navigate this. I was very interested in Reiki. I'm still am, and I do that a little bit, but the Reiki aspect is basically tapping into the Akashic record, into a particular part of it that talks about Reiki and whatever. So, I mean,
Okay.
it's
see how
an
that-
information field. It's what they call the quantum field.
Right. Well, which is where I try to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is the whole thing. So whenever I go into something esoteric, I end up wanting to do the three-dimensional scientific aspect of it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
To explain that. So that it's taken, like I said, it takes me a long time because I'm trying to do, the three-dimensional with the fifth dimension. Okay,
yeah.
because the fifth dimension is basically information.
Right.
It's what they call the dark matter in physics. They've discovered that information does have mass.
Read this book.
Oh, long before that book.
You got to read this book. Oh my God. Oh no,
Yeah.
they're freaking out all over him. He is completely flipping the whole thing upside down. It's I should have loaded.
Well, all of science has to a great degree.
Yeah. So yeah, hang on. I gotta respond to Trinity back here. So getting pregnant is, she's asking me if she's going to get pregnant. I can give you the energies. I can tell you that you really need to relax into making sure that all of your physical situations are right. Get yourself and your husband both tested to make sure that you don't have plumbing issues, and see if you need to have assistance or whatever. You can do timing. There are ways that you can guarantee yourself better ways to get this pregnancy, and then whatever. The difficulty with reading the cards here is that I read energies, and the reading of an energy of you becoming a mother could be a yes, but it may read exactly the same. Hi, Olivia, hugs to you, sweetheart. So yeah, so well, here's the energy, right? I'll get a 5 of Cups energy. This is about you putting together and making sure that everything's working and everything's going. I cannot give you better than that, because if I tell you I've got the energies of you becoming a mother, those same energies read exactly the same whether you become a foster mother or you actually physically give birth. So I prefer not to read on the topic of pregnancy, but I will give you that advice. Make sure all the plumbing works and everything's good. Eat well, take your vitamins, prep the thing, make yourself a mother. And if the plumbing itself doesn't work out, lots of babies in the world need mommies. And with those cups, I bet you've got lots of power for becoming a mom. So I wish you good luck with that. And thanks for asking. I am really well, Olivia. I hope you are well too. Oh, good luck, Trinity. I hope you guys work out. Good luck, good luck, good luck. And be a great mom. Lots of cups there, lots of cups there. All right. Hello, Mrs. Krupa. All right. So we're going to go back to the class here, guys. We're doing every Wednesday and not every Wednesday, every other Wednesday. Every second Wednesday and every second Thursday in between. So Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings we have scheduled Tarot Phenoms through the end of April, I believe, correct? And you are welcome to join us to learn how to read the cards. You will get less of an education, just hanging out on TikTok because this thing blinks. It is also being simulcast live on YouTube, which is just go youtube.com/Tina Brooks, and you'll find me. And of course, the other is join tarotphenoms.com. Go into my profile. You will see my first video, and it will give you the address for tarotphenoms.com. Sign up, and you will get an email inviting you to join the meetups and et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, there you go. So yeah, join us. There you go. Thank you. Public service announcement. There you go, guys. There. Good luck to you guys. Yeah. So yeah, don't want to read for babies. Alrighty. Huh. Yeah. All right, where do we go from there, you guys? Mary's got something. What are you bringing me? The mystical medleys. Oh, that's cool. Oh, is that the cartoons?
It's based on cartoons, old cartoons.
Very cool.
So I thought we needed a break.
Oh,
So anyways,
that
these are
is-
based
Have
on,
you read with them yet?
I played with them. I can't say I've read with them. So this is the box, and actually it opens from the bottom.
Oh, neat. I have a deck that opens like that. It's very weird. Do you want to try
And
reading it?
inside, trying to get it out, is a little book that's actually hardcover.
Oh, very pretty.
And
They're getting fancy schmancy with their tarot decks now, eh? Oh, cool. Oh, guys, you should see the inside of this little white book. It's a hardcover and it's about this big. It's very cool.
it's basically a little bit bigger than the classical white, how do you call it, white book, but it's kind of cute.
It is adorable.
And so if you, I'm going to look at, let's take the back of the card looks like this.
Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, it's very merry melodies, isn't it? Holy cow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm just going to play with the Fool right now because, okay, so the cards all look like a little bit dusty and dirty and whatever. But anyway, I'll go through the cards in a minute.
Well, they just look like that. That's a brand new deck, eh?
Yeah, at first I thought something was wrong with them. So there's how do you call it, a forward, an introduction, and then talks about the major arcana. Roll up, the major arcana takes center stage as life's big moments. It's, you know, like that's the how do you call the voice here. So that's the Fool. And I'm going to read what it says more or less. The morning is full of joy as the carefree fool sets off on his journey. All potentials and endless possibilities. His hopes and dreams packed for the trip with only one eye on the road. One eye. Okay. Whoops.
Here.
Yeah.
That is here.
Does he see where the path is leading him? Is he listening to the calls, warning of danger ahead? Or is he confident that his feet will take him exactly where he wants to go? Blind faith leading the way. All adventures begin with a single step. Don't be afraid to know you know nothing. There are choices to be made, and every choice is valid. Muster your strength, listen to your heart, and let the story begin. So you have the actual picture, and then you have sort of like the esoteric thing. So if you want to see,
that's really cool.
Okay, the Magician is kind of cool too, the one eye.
Oh, let's see that. Oh, neat. Very cool. Very cool. So I got somebody in the TikTok asking how often the lessons are happening. You need a passcode. Josh, do I have you? Do I have you on Signal? Can I pass?
Your message that you sent had the schedule? Or
Yeah,
at least when I went, because I'm doing this on my iPad instead of on the computer. And when I went there, it gave me a schedule. It told me to go here, go there, and everywhere else. I mean, talk about getting together. It was a pain in the.
Yeah, you need to be registered for to be able to pop directly into the class. I didn't want to screw around with passwords, so.
No, that's okay. So this is the high priestess.
It's a cow sitting on a donut. I can't see it very well.
Yeah, the moon is a bit like a donut. Okay, and the two sort of how do you call them, pillars are like those punchy baggy things.
Yeah, there you go. Josh, check your TikTok. All right. Very cool. Oh, Kitsia, tarotphenoms.com. So Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and every Saturday. Every Saturday. Although I'm not sure I put that on the calendar.
I don't think it was on the calendar.
Yeah, so because I wasn't sure it was going to be every Saturday. The Meetup site won't let you access it. Oh yeah, screw the. Oh yeah, okay. So don't go to the Meetups. Did you go to the link that I just sent you in? What do you call this thing? Signal. Josh, let me do it this way. Copy link.
I got the link through Messenger.
Yeah. There. Do the one I just sent. Am I doing free readings? I am sort of doing readings. I'm actually teaching a tarot class with Mary. Cindy, you're welcome to join us, called Tarot Phenoms. And we're all about hanging out and learning about tarot cards. Can you get in, Josh? You should be all right. Josh may be joining us momentarily.
Oh,
there you go. So yeah, and oh hey, Jessica, if you
Jessica's on the phone.
no, okay, well I'll tell her later. But everybody should get Signal for Tarot Phenoms, because the best way to text me is using that thing.
Okay, so here's Miss Empress.
Ugh. She doesn't look very pregnant. What is she sitting
No,
on?
she's
What
not.
is it, a sausage
But,
roll?
she is. Don't forget, it's a tune.
It's a yeah. Well, still. Well, what is she sitting on?
Reminds me a bit of the Princess and the Pea.
Oh, good gosh, yeah, right.
Okay, you've got sort of a pillow, you've got a roll, bedroll, and then you've got another pillow on top.
Interesting.
So she could be camping for all I know. I'd have to look in the book.
They're adorable, kitty. Yeah. You'd have to see them. Well, I don't really have. Hang on, let me see if I can blow this up. And
I mean, I'd have to play with them a little bit, but I thought they were hysterical, so you know, couldn't resist.
Oh no, we don't want to turn that one. This is this. Hang on, let me see. We want to use this one. No, let me see if I can do this for you. We're gonna reverse the camera. No, we don't want to do that. Cancel that. Reverse the camera this way. Flip the camera.
Okay.
Hey, oh wait, nope. This way. There you go. Say hi to Mary, gang. There's Mary. Say hi. You're on the camera. There's Jessica. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back.
All right. So show everybody the card, Mary.
Pardon?
Show everybody a card. Show them. Pick up one of the cards. No, you just put them back in the box.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go find one. The Knight of Wands just showed up.
There you go. Fire of fire. Look at that. Right. And so the wand there is really cool. So that could be a guitar. That could be, oh my gosh. The bug on the ground on his back is hilarious. Oh my gosh. That deck is fantastic. All right, I gotta set this down because that is, I'm gonna flip this back around so you guys can see me and not my camera. There.
Okay.
I'm back. Hi guys.
If I look at it, let me get to the book again. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's what's
back.
the deck called? What's the deck called? Melodies?
Mystical Medleys.
Mystical Medleys. So yeah, like Merry Medleys was the original cartoons when we were kids.
Yeah. Well, that's what it says. If you look at the subtitle.
I'm pretty sure that whoever drew that actually painted all of those cards without getting permission from Merry Melodies.
Yeah.
So that's why
It's a vintage cartoon tarot.
It's very, very cool. Hey, Strawberry Delight. How are you? Alrighty, you guys. All right. So did you want to try and read something out of there?
I wasn't quite with it, but basically I just picked up in the back of the book. It shows you how to read the tarot.
There you go.
Well, hello, Mr. Josh.
Hey, darling. He's not connected yet. Still not come in yet. And we've lost video. We may have audio though. His mic has come on.
Okay. Basically, what it does say here is how to read the tarot.
Okay.
How do cartoonists convey meaning? They pack it all into imagery using visual shorthands to reference bigger themes. The early cartoons of the 20s and the 30s were especially well known for this, dealing with heavy topics like death, drugs, sex, and sneaky symbols and coded jazz lyrics. What? You thought Smokey Joe was just Minnie's boyfriend? You know, so there's a lot of allusions to that era as well. And then it says the tarot is much the same. Each card's meaning is packed into its imagery. So before you do anything else, sift through the deck, what jumps out at you, examine the cards, and try to work out each one's story. Then check the card's meaning. You might be surprised by what you already know and have worked out on your own.
That's a really good suggestion. Yeah. And so it's the same conversation. Doesn't matter what the deck is, when you pick it up.
Yeah,
how it reads,
exactly.
Whatever. It'll tell you its voice, right? That's very cool. Hey, Josh, how you doing, dude?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear and loud. Yeah.
I'm good. How is everyone else doing?
Hey, number one.
Hey, it's spring.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. And the season, it's crazy because I got my first show starts in what's the date today? 2-3 weeks.
Today is the 9th.
And just got crappy news from my dad. My mom just found out she's got 2 months and counting. And
Oh, shit.
Well, she's got no, it's okay. I'm okay with it. She's got vascular dementia. So for quite a while now, we've been in a situation where it was, oh, well, it could be 2 months, it could be 10 years. You never know with this sort of malady. And so every time I've called her for the last 3-4 years, how long, Mary? Long enough. And she's like, hey, Mom, how you doing? I was like, I'm gonna die. So now I'm gonna die in 2 months. So I figure that when she dies, I'll get to have a lovely conversation with her where she won't be telling me I'm gonna die, so we'll see.
Well, anyway, the difference will be there'll be no ego involved.
Right, exactly. And I think that I will have a so much better relationship with my mommy once she's dead than I ever had our entire lifetime. Because I really love that woman, but God, my daughter says to me, Mommy, Grandma is racist as fuck.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't even know it. It's just, she's like that old and she doesn't even realize that she says things. It's like that 80 or 90-year-old man who likes to pinch the ass of the young girls coming into the place, and everybody's like, you got to stop that or they're going to charge you with child abuse. Like, he doesn't know any better, right? And because he's freaking vascular dementia, what he was taught as a child is going to come out in this adulthood. So, that's what she's dealing with. She fortunately has my dad taken care of her, which is really cool because he's a monster of a fellow. He's very, very grounded. He's very, very, he gave me my spirituality, which is like really,
oh wow. So he'll make sure her final wishes and everything are taken care of then.
Oh, oh man, he worships the ground she walks on, and he has from the very second that he ever first met her. I have no comprehension nor understanding of this, but she's not my best friend, she's his. And so, I am just
it's like, where's the woman that he met, because you haven't met her yet?
Well, no, you know what? I kind of have. I think it's more like I can see who she wants to be and who she would like to be. And of course, because of her ego inception, she never managed to ever get past that. And that is just the existence of every human being who fails at whatever level to not do that massive introspection required to remove all of those egocentric idiocies that we all create and carry with us throughout our lifetimes, and turn us into the idiots that we are at old age, right? So we're either, none of us are going to ascend. That boat has already sailed. You know what I'm saying? So there you go.
We just do the best we can with what we know. That's how I've always lived my life.
Yeah, oh, and the better part of it, and the funny thing is everybody thinks, oh yeah, that guy or that woman or whoever, they're all making it up as they go along. All of them. All of them.
Yep.
Okay? Don't let anybody tell you any different, right?
We didn't get a
Any-
manual for this shit. We do make it up as we go along.
We do. No, I'm telling you, right? So I take things like this. You missed this book. This is my new Bible.
Oh, that's a pretty book cover.
Oh, this is I can't get
Oh,
you.
let me screenshot that. The Universal Physics Theory by
Benoit Lonier. He turned
can
this
you-
aside. Whoops. Yep. Sorry.
There we go.
There we
I'm
go.
gonna screenshot that and find that book because I'm already
Do it.
interested in it.
Do it.
On
So
Amazon.
this is, guys, if
Perfect.
you want to read this book, I'll tell you what, this is way better than Wicca will ever be. 1. 2, I don't practice Wicca. I read tarot. So in a sort of weird sense, I practice alchemy. And there is a book, it's called The Liberty, and it's capital T, Liber, capital T. Look it up, find it. If you can't find it, send me a DM and I will give you a link to download it. This is the book that I first, this was the book that I got from a Gardnerian witch back in the 70s when I first started. I was reading playing cards at the time. Anyway, I started reading tarot. I was dating this guy. He was turned out to be a real piece of work, creepazoid. Anyway, put me off of Gardnerian witchcraft. Anyhow, and then Wicca struck me as just bizarre because it was just as made up as anything else, and it certainly didn't exist before the 20th century, but then neither did Unitarian Universalism. So I kind of went, yeah. As far as Wicca goes, you want to do witchcraft, you really need to, 1, astrophysics, and number 2, get yourself a really good Thoth deck. That's the Thoth, looks like this. Okay, and study the Liberty. And I'll warn you ahead of time, you're going to need to memorize the Hebrew alphabet and the Sephiroth because it's all alchemy. And it's all energetic controls. Crazy, eh? It'll make you nuts, eh? And I'll tell you what, this is not an easy read, dude. Here, let me read you what this talks about, okay? This is, you'll notice I have this book. I write in books, aren't I terrible? Listen to this. From the beginning of time, the unification of physics is the ultimate goal for nearly all physicists. The laws of nature are concise. They must explain all of nature's behaviors down to its finest details, from the beginning of creation until the time it will vanish out of existence. This is universal law, and it doesn't matter whether you're reading tea leaves or cookies or planets or whatever, tarot cards, it doesn't matter. The energy is the energy and the math is the math, and this is the best book I ever read. He goes on later and he says, this is really cool. He says, too often what we perceive is a distorted account of what truly is. Even seemingly through investigations, we may easily be deceived by unforeseen or unconsidered phenomena. And that is where the magic comes into play, right? Because everything's in alignment and that energy is able to be pulled in, and it's huge. This by Scare. Oh no, Mary, who prints? Is it U.S. Games? Who's printing the Thoth? Do you know?
The Thoth, I think, is US Games.
I think it's U.S. Games. Hang on, I've got a box kicking around here.
You want me to get mine?
If you have one handy.
Yeah.
I don't have mine. I'm not sure where mine is right now. I've got it out of the box because it's sitting here on my desk right now. But yeah, so I mean, as far as that goes, Lo Scaraboa, May Scarabeo. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Nice people I met.
No, it is US Games.
It is U.S. Games. U.S. Games for the Crowley talk. It looks like this on the back.
US
Right.
Games.
It is
Okay.
U.S.
And yeah,
Beautiful. All right.
that's the
And now I
box.
will warn you ahead of time, before you go shopping of these, you can go to Tarot Garden, tarotgarden.com. It's a buddy of mine, tell him I sent you. But this deck has had the edges trimmed off it, and with its actual, imagine how big this
Yep.
this deck of cards actually is. These freaking cards were huge. These have been trimmed. I have my my teaching deck or my practice learning deck that I write on. That is, it's not much bigger than a usual size deck of cards. It's much easier to shuffle. But if you accidentally order these great big huge crowley
You can
tops,
get, you can
Yeah,
also
that's-
get the supersized cards.
Yeah,
wow.
these are these
How do you
yeah,
even
those are the
shuffle
big ones.
those?
Yeah,
Okay,
so that
supersized.
yeah, so
They're
that's
very
what
good for teaching.
that's what Mary's got. Show him the other side. Yours still owns upside down.
It's the regular
Oh no,
one.
turn him around. Turn it around. Okay.
Okay.
No, the face of the card, Mary.
Oh, you told me turn it.
All right, so she's showing.
Okay,
so
this
do you
is,
see the
the
edge? See
five
how
of,
big the edge is? I want them to see the edge that came off of my card because this was
Good
Yeah.
my
Lord.
That's what that border is, a good half-inch thick. Okay, that's what came
Yeah.
off these cards. And I mean, these are pretty decent, but imagine that extra on the cards. They're huge. And there's another deck out there. They're 8.5 by 11.
Oh
But
my
it's only a majors card deck. Did you order it, Mary?
No,
want
I have
to
this, the deck I have is, I don't know, hand size, which is
Yeah,
about
it's
9.
about 7.
Yeah.
It's the size of a freaking Barbie doll, practically. They're huge,
Yeah.
huge cards. Anyway, they're very difficult to shuffle, but
At least you won't lose
there you
them.
go.
Well, the
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is, these are not for, these are basically, I bought them with the idea of for teaching in a class.
Oh, they're not meant to be for reading. They're meant to be more like
Well,
showing what the cards
yeah,
are.
they're
They're
visual.
big. They're bigger than your head, Josh. You
They're like
can't
flashcards.
shuffle it. You need
Yeah.
2 people to shuffle them.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can put them all over your wall, for instance, as a flashcard or whatever,
Right.
and, play with them that way.
You're
Because
so
I
glad
find
you're not the only
even
one that does
regular
that.
size decks are, for me, very difficult to shuffle. My hands are small.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, me too.
shuffling
I
them sideways, forget it. And
Yeah, I
have
in
trouble
some
shuffling.
cases,
You
I'll
haven't lived.
actually, yeah,
When I shuffle like this, like a poker deck, you guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the bigger the cards, you learn to shuffle them this way, which is what I had
That's
to
right.
do. When
Yeah.
I first started reading tarot, that big deck that you have in your hands was the deck that I used. And it's funny, you can look at my well-used cards and how
yeah.
they look after a while, right? That deck, when I lost it in the house fire, I bought it when I was 17 and the house fire was 2004. So let me do the math. It would have been
A million years, darling, a million years.
a million years ago, 83, 93, 2003, 2013. No, it wasn't. It was 2003. So it was 31 years I'd read with that deck when my house went
Wow.
out. Yeah. And so not this one. So it was crazy. I tell you, the things that throw you off a beam, right? I've been reading Never Without a Deck. I mean, if you see me, I've got my coat, my winter coat has a deck in the pocket. On any given day, I've got 2 decks. I've got 3 decks within. I don't even have to move. I don't even have to fully extend my hands to full length. And I've got 3 decks. And if I extend my arms, I could easily find another 6, right? And those are decks that I pull out and I actively use. Okay. But so the house burned down and everything went upside down and sideways, and it was sitting down. It had to have been months later, and everything, it's like whirlwind and everything's being put together and this and that and everything. And life is crazy because it just comes at you in the craziest ways, right? And so what ended up happening is I'm sitting there, and it had to have been close to many months, maybe even a year later. And I said to Greg, where the hell are my tarot cards? Let me ask my cards. And he looked at me and he said, I haven't seen your tarot cards in forever. And we both started looking around, and I was like, and it dawned on me that I had lost the cards in the house fire and they were gone. Just so gone. And no, that's not rude at all, Emmy. I will answer that question in a second. She's asking what the difference is between Wicca and what my religion is. So this is going to be a fun question to answer, you guys.
Especially
Yeah,
with your
so-
disdain for Wicca.
well, it's not a disdain so much as they made it up. It's like, where does it come from? Like at least with Crowley, I can look to alchemy. I can look to the Hebrew alphabet. I can go back several thousand years. I haven't got somebody. What's that?
A Jewish mysticism.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're going back even with the if you take the Rider-Waite deck, you're going back at least. What she was reading with were medieval cards from like this 6th century.
1346 was approximately the date that they've put to the actual beginning of the decks.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay. So that was.
And then 1600s was the beginning of the esoteric aspect of it through the French system. Mm-hmm. And by the 1900s or the late 1800s, it went across the pond to England, and that's where Waite comes in and a few other things. Yes. But the esotericism has always been around in one format or another since Delphi.
Yes.
If you think about it, the oracles have always been there. Delphi. You've always been throwing oracle symbols of some kind or other. If you weren't finding the entrails of the animal, you were predicting and you were doing things, mm-hmm. and you always had seers. They used different tools across the cultures. They started to use the deck as an easy way to put it in your pocket and move ahead. Once they've started to do that. Before that, they would use rocks. They would use, bones, they do in the Qing. Like there's 1,000 different ways that we used to use it, because prediction has always been the most important thing to humans at that time. Remember, your life was, you knew you were born a serf, you're going to die a serf, right? And you knew you were in this village, you weren't going to move out of this village. Mm-hmm. So you wanted to know something. So the runes are right? Good too. But this is what I'm saying. Runes are older. So in the 1600s, the first guy, I forget his name, they discovered Egypt at that point. Europe finally discovered Egypt. And they finally realized there were things older than what they saw around them. So they were trying to use that knowledge that they didn't have, and put it in there. Astrology was always there. Astrologers were the most important people in any court from like 4,000, 5,000 BC.
Well, yeah, they totally had to be. I mean, if you look at it, especially you can see it in the Mayan culture. You can see it in the Egyptian culture. Mm-hmm. There were somewhere in the Midwest there, Arizona, I think, were mound builders. But you go even to China. Oh, yes.
We've always had this thing. The difference of nowadays to those days is that we've incorporated the human mind.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. And what fascinates me is the fact that Rider-Waite and company set up the tarot the way they did esoterically, but it's also the same time that Sigmund Freud was very big. Yeah. And later Carl Jung. So psychology was starting to come in at the same time as the cards were becoming more popular.
I fully believe that Carl Jung had some connection.
Of course he did. Carl
sure.
Jung read cards. So did Sigmund Freud.
They had to. There's no. The only other way to have those energies flow in the teachings the way that they flow would be to have studied alchemy, to have studied Kabbalah, to have studied I Ching teaches those energies, right?
But don't forget, Carl Jung quoted. He's the one that started with archetypal energies. Yeah. The synchronicity was one of his words. Collective unconscious was one of his words. Oh, so he was trying to explain how symbols across time were universal. That's part of what he did. Whereas Sigmund Freud was trying to explain that our brains are not just what we think and are told, but there's like the subconscious. He was the first person that actually started to move that. And this all came about the same time that the cards started to come out.
Right.
You know,
That's not a
and so you
coincidence.
have in basically the English world more so than in the European world, where we've started to look more at the psychology of reading cards.
True. Well, the Reader Studio in New York City, which is a huge gathering the clans.
Yeah.
I don't know why I see that. As far as if you are a tarot reader in this world and you value your education as a tarot reader, you got to get yourself to this conference. It usually happens in the spring in New York City, and these guys have been doing it, I think. Ooh, is it 20 years this year?
I don't know that they're doing it in 2022.
I don't know if they're doing it this year because Walt had some serious health issues.
Also, there were restrictions left, right, and center. They had to make decisions 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, like that's part of
Anyway.
it.
Oh, the COVID restrictions, yeah.
So if and when this conference starts back up again, get thee to New York City and get in on this conference, because you come out of there so full of the, like, things like this, like what I'm teaching here with what I have learned about the energies and how the Sephiroth works for reading the cards, and you can overlay the two and that, right? You get people. I have had Rachel Pollock taught me how to take two cards and work with the space in between them. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, until you actually do that workshop, you have no idea what those words mean. And then once you've done her workshop, you're sitting back going, okay, I can't not see those missing cards. Right. I did one of the best exercises I ever did for the cards was at Readers, and it had nothing to do with the cards whatsoever. What it had to do was one of the girls teaches, I don't even know exactly what she teaches, but what she did was she took the group out and she used the energies of the group to combine and create healing energies within each of us by doing a dance party kind of action sort of thing. It was really cool. You know, like, do you remember the hokey pokey when we were kids?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why that's so effective? Is because every fiber in your body is playing.
That's
and
right.
That's what
it's
we're
moving.
here for.
Yeah.
Right. That
Oh.
is what we are here for. And that is, and when you really grasp, right? Why would we even come here for all the contract and all the insanity? I mean, there's got the war going on in the Ukraine, and last week you had the civil war going on in Ottawa, and you got these honkies going down in DC with their trucks, and you got the crap going on in Syria, and what's going on in China, this, that, the other thing. When you realize that once you've stepped over to that Akashic record plane, the real true existence of where we actually are, this is not separate from us. Yes, you got to go inside yourself to be there, but we live in this energetic space, and that space, if we can control our place in that space, right? And the cards help us mold it and control it and put it together, right?
If you're interested in knowing more about it, the Tarot School has a newsletter comes out.
Yep.
And they usually have stuff on there and whatever. So you might be interested in getting. It comes out the first of the month.
Yep. They're on Facebook. I don't know if they're off Facebook, but if you don't,
I have no idea. Too many people are leaving
her.
Facebook. A lot of people are leaving Facebook.
Well, that's why I wanted to get off of there myself. I mean, it's fine for local stuff and gathering that, but having the ability to actually control the thing without somebody else going, oh yeah, no, that doesn't go against any kind of rules whatsoever, when it blatantly does. You know, and the ability to actually be able to present ideas and thoughts at a tarot level that aren't locked in and dictated by
others
of their group, right? This gives us
the artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, is that what you call it? Yeah. The AI, right? One of the things that I discovered doing the research for how Mary and I were going to structure this tarot phenoms thing, because what we really, really didn't want to do is create something where if you miss a class, you're going to miss everything. Right. But what we wanted really was the community. We wanted to share the cards. Mary and I live these cards. We eat these cards. The two of us have been having these cards in our hands for lots of years, eh, Mary?
Since prehistory.
Since prehistory, lots and lots of prehistory. So I can't imagine living without them. I told the story about
That's right.
fire earlier. Mary can't imagine living without them. So if we can take that, we create community for ourselves, because both of us live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Pardon the expression, you guys.
Me too.
I know there's kids on TikTok.
Well, join the club then.
Right. And some people are, it's not that they are necessarily isolated. Hi, Coco Penny. Not necessarily isolated, but there are a lot of people that are introverted or really don't work well in groups, and the last thing they want to do is learn about tarot by going and sitting in a big ass noisy room with 200 tarot readers. You know what I'm saying? So
especially if they're sensitive to a lot of energies too.
Exactly. Also, Mary and I come to the table. I'm trying to rush this because I've got 4 minutes left, because I've got other stuff that I've got to boot off and do. I'm sorry. I can leave you guys here with Mary.
That's right.
The other thing that's really, really cool about it is because Mary and I have been at this so long, we have the ability to bring friends of ours into your milieu that you would never have the opportunity to meet. We're hoping to do a lot of bringing folks like that in hopefully for free workshops, but if we have to do them for paid workshops, people do a lot of these big names in tarot that's their living. So I wouldn't ask a doctor to come in and give a medical presentation without
exactly.
So that was why we decided to work with the Meetup group. If you join Tarot Phenoms, you get on the mailing list through tarotphenoms.com. You will get a reminder anytime there's changes in the schedule. Meetup is the registration. That is always going to have the thing. You don't need to be in the Meetup group, but it gives us the ability to schedule and keep track of the real life meetings, which we really want to have happen. And so it's a way for you to ask your questions, not necessarily online or anything else. You know where to get us. Ask your questions. We can come up, or at least give you ideas, whatever, that would help you to do your own studies on your own terms. Right.
We're not here to preach.
Nope. We just want to share.
Tina has one way of looking at the cards. I have a completely opposite, a different way.
And other people are going to read them different too. And that's the point, right? We want to bring in as many ideas, as many people, as many different voices to the tarot cards to really help, right? Like no two people are really going to bring their energy to the cards the same way.
And we don't want that anyway. We want
exactly. But if you look at all the books that are on the shelves in the stores or on Amazon, they're all telling you the same thing.
Right.
They're all telling you that there are 78 cards, 154 ways to look at them, and they're not telling you how to put the stories together. They're not telling you how to actually use them.
No.
And some won't even talk about reading them in reverse, which irritates the hell out of me, because reverse.
You don't ever have to.
Still have.
You never ever have to reverse the cards
as if you have to do it.
Now, I reverse them sometimes, but
I do too.
These guys, I never turn these upside down. I never turn the top upside down. I don't need to. These guys, these are born reversed. These got the reversals printed right in them. I love this deck.
There are decks where you have the two pictures on the same side.
Yeah, this one I read reverse. This one is born reverse. Okay, can I show you guys here? So for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, this deck is born.
We don't see them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I see. I see your point.
Right.
Yeah. But if you look at any card in any deck, you have the reversal
guy?
in it already.
This King of Cups reverse. You ever see this in a deck? The guy's a drunkard or an alcoholic or whatever. You see that cup in his little hand there? Whatever's in that cup, it's his be all and end all, and he ain't ever looking at anything but what's in that cup. Right to his grave. That's it. That's all. That's that crazy energy.
It's a new
Him
meaning
along
for
with the
King of
devil.
Cups.
This guy, this is my dad. This guy, this is big hugs. This is love. This is wonderful. This is the guy when you need somebody to give you all that love, energy. That's your dude. But give him a drink and he's a drunkard. There you go. Crazy cards. Crazy cards. Anyway, yeah. So that's the idea of it, was to bring our expertise, our knowledge, our friends, bring it together. Some of the other stuff, Mary's got a lifetime of teaching experience about all kinds of things and library history. So research and knowledge that she brings. No, Coco, I'm done pulling cards today. I'm just going to wrap this up real quick. I got to screw on out of here. Unfortunately, but we wanted to bring that knowledge. There's a lot of young people like Gus, who was here earlier. He wants to improve his professional tarot reading. There are professionals out there that want to read better, and beginners who want to just learn how to read. And there's the community is really what it's all about. The benefit, the super power that I really like about it is that there are so many different things that we can bring to help everybody figure out the different way that they themselves are going to read. If we
I was also going to say the other thing is that every single one of us have our own private superpowers.
Yes.
And once we understand that, we can share it.
Yeah.
So and the whole point is to get you to become the best you can be at your own level and at your own knowledge.
You got it.
That's why I'm learning Reiki, because energy healing calls to me.
Yeah.
Well, in the right place. I'm I said to somebody told me once about I looked into the idea of studying Reiki, because as you know, I'm an energy witch and I'm all about the energy, right?
Right.
And I said, well, I should get certified as a Reiki practitioner. What is involved? And when I saw the $20,000 process that I was go to learn how to do what I seem to already be able to do naturally. I said, well, wait a minute. Why is it so expensive to learn how to do this? There's got to be a way to do this cheap, do this free. And they said, no, you have to be certified by a certified practitioner. Otherwise it doesn't count. And I'm like, and nobody's ever actually given me this as a really, really good response. And this is why, I personally have never become a Reiki practitioner. It's because nobody can tell me who certified the very, very, very first Reiki practitioner.
It's same with everything. There are lots of courses now online that will give you a certification that you're a reader. Catch-22.
In the US, there actually used to be an organization that would certify people, and they shut it down, I think, in like the 50s.
Yeah, well, that was part of the thing. But explain to me how you can tell me that I'm a good reader.
That's a piece of paper.
Because it has nothing to do.
Doesn't mean shit for that.
That's how I see you cannot test it.
No, only when I get a reading.
This is not 1 + 1 is equal to 2.
That's right. Yeah,
it's a bit like teaching. In that, we're certified as teachers, blah, 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 but you don't know the impact on your student ever.
No,
I found out 20 years later
come back later,
the impact I had on some of my students.
Right. I'm going to interrupt you guys. I'm going to leave you guys with the same room. I have another meeting that I have to prepare for this afternoon. I really appreciate everybody coming in on TikTok and joining us.
It's nice to see you again, because you were kind of gone for a little while.
Well,
Well,
I'll
life.
tell you what happened. Crazy life is like that. We coming out of the pandemic. We have a food manufacturing company, and it's not a huge corporation, but it's not a little bit of a slouch of it. It's not just a teeny business anymore. Anyway,
Right.
we were really blindsided by. I personally lost about $200,000 in revenues
Shit.
by being shut down by the pandemic.
Oh, I didn't know you were shut down. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Quebec is
No.
interesting.
Yeah. So I'm
We
really
had
looking forward to
lockdowns
this.
too, eh?
My first show coming back at the end of the month. This is supposed to be my second show of the year. The first show of the year hasn't come back online yet. And that's a big commercial show where I would sell to stores and stuff. That one's not.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a big show. I'm not going to get that revenue. I'll have my show revenue at the end of the month, and then I go into my season starts, right? Where Saturdays are going to get fun because we'll be meeting out at Finnegan's and we'll do readings.
I hope so.
That's going to be fun. Well, I got to talk to Mary yet, make sure she's okay with it. Because if they're wackadoo devout Christians and I don't know about it, that might not go over well. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know until I ask. Which reminds me, I got to go pick up that salsa from the Christmas market that we did.
You should have told me about it.
I only just thought of it now. Fella called me yesterday and I said, oh yeah, when's the best time to come? He says, oh, we'll come during lunchtime. Well, I've missed it. This is the second day in a row. So, but there you go. Yeah, what else? Yeah, so tarotphenoms.com, sign up. I am setting up a private group on a private website where everybody be able to go in and talk. And so the forum is basically going to look like the forum that I set up on CanadianTarot.com, except it will be closed. You'll have to be a member to post on it. It won't be public. It won't be as open and in your face as that group is. Okay, so it'll make it easier there's a lot of people in the States for some bizarre reason whose family and friends, A, don't know that they read, and B, they would die of mortification if their family and friends found
It's
out.
all the Bible belts we have in the States. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's all right. We have it here too.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not south, it's west.
Yes.
Mind you, the province I live in, there are quite a few people who look at me as scats. You know, devil's work.
All right, I really gotta ditch you now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be late.
It was nice
They say
catching
if
up,
you're
though.
not 15 minutes early for a meeting, you're already late. I have 7 minutes before I'm late, you guys. So I'm gonna ditch you. I am sorry I didn't get more readings off you guys. Next one is on Saturday, probably around, and that'll be more qigong and coffee tarot. Sound like pulling casual pulling cards as opposed to tarot phenoms. The next tarot phenoms is next Thursday. At 2:00. Okay, and then the following Wednesday at noon, and then like that. But every Saturday it looks like about 9:00, and I'll start with a qigong session for everybody, and then I'll be doing qigong on Mondays as well at 9 a.m. every Monday morning. So I get all of that in. I love you guys.
Take it easy, Tina.
You be
Have
well,
a good
and
one.
I will see you
Take
all
care,
very
Tina.
soon.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to leave you here, and you guys can stay until you're done. Just shut it down, Mary, and I will leave you.
Okay. We're left without the grown-up.
Grown-up supervision has left the chat.
And the mice will play. Is that it? So people, what have you got in mind?
I think it's just wanting to learn the cards easier, and it doesn't seem like there really is a surefire, easy way to do that. Like
I'll tell you
the
what,
cards.
Josh, it depends on your style of learning.
Audio,
I learned it
visual,
through-
all of them.
Okay. If you get caught in the details, you know what they're saying is, that devil card, the devil's in the details.
Oh yeah, I have heard that saying.
Okay. So basically, for me, the easiest way to learn it was to learn the system of tarot. This is why the numerology thing is good. You know what the numbers 1 through 10 mean intuitively to yourself. If I gave you a 7, are you at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle?
You're toward the end.
Okay. So, I mean, we use numbers all the time. No, numbers is the language of the universe to begin with. So if you've got a 1.
That's a start or beginning, something
Exactly. So that's the first thing you have to understand is the number system. 1 through 9 is easy. 10 is 1 plus 0. So it's end and start. 9 is usually the end. So that's the first thing you know, whether you know it in the suits or you know it in the arcana. Okay,
And
the arcana is a little more difficult, but the pips are really easy in that respect. So you've got those numbers. The next thing you have to understand is the 4 suits.
Wands, Pentacles, Cups, and Swords.
Yeah. And what do they represent to you?
Wands are creative energy. Cups are emotions. Swords are intellect and ideas. And Pentacles are finances, anything earth-based.
Everything that's earthy, right?
Yes.
All right. So if I told you 3 of Wands.
3 of Wands would be growth and expansion.
That's all you need to know. Every 3 is like that. If you look at Empress, it's the same thing.
Oh.
Okay. Now, think about your, how do you call it? Your major arcana. It goes 1 through 9, and then it starts again at 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 is 1.
Oh. I always
1 plus 0
is
is 1.
I always saw 10 as endings, not 9 as endings.
Well, you know what? The 9 is the fulfillment of whatever it is. Think of your swords. That's the best one to think of. Think of your swords. Your 9 is the fulfillment of all your anxieties.
Yes, and the 9 of Cups is your fulfillment.
And what
of
happens
emotion.
at 10?
And 10 of Swords is, I see it as rock bottom, defeat, starting over.
Look at the picture. Don't look at the words.
Look at the picture.
Okay? It's dead.
Yeah, there's no coming back from it.
And yet, if you turn it upside down, all those swords come out, so you'd start again.
Oh. So it really is.
This is where it becomes important to understand the actual pictures. And this is why you start with something like the Rider-Waite, which is very easy to understand if you're not into the energies.
And I tried with that. I didn't like the imagery of the Rider-Waite, so I didn't want to.
No, I never liked it either. It took me a long time to get back to that. But it's very good teaching.
Yes.
It's a very good teaching thing. Just think of the 10 of Swords as acute acupuncture.
Oh. That would make
you know? Okay, so do you understand? Like, basically, that's what you have to understand about all of them. You start at 1 and you go through 9. And in numerology, there is no 10.
No.
It's 1 plus 0.
Mm-hmm.
So the beginning with the Fool.
That's why the Fool is 0.
The Fool is 0 because he is outside numbers. And in actual numbering systems, 0 is always outside the numbers. If you take physics, if you take anything, 0 is, if you want the Akashic record of the quantum field. It's a potentiality.
And it's neither positive nor negative.
That's right. Okay. And no card is positive or negative. Every card is neutral.
That's true.
So if you're looking at how to play with it, is get the system first in your head. So when you pull out a card, where does it fit in that system of yours?
Okay.
Okay. And basically when I had a little chart that I had made you, I should bring it out again, or maybe when we have a formal session. Basically what I did is put the numbers 1, 2, 3, first row, 4, 5, 6, second row, 7, 8, 9, third row. Okay.
Mhm.
And 10 in the middle. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and under 8 is 10. The reason to do that is you have 1 is a beginning, 2 is a decision, 3
Mhm.
is getting it.
Mhm.
Now look at 4, 5, 6. 4 is a stability, the beginning. 5 is a decision in chaos. And 6 is your, if you want triumph, or you've done it. You're moving
Okay.
on. You see, this is what I'm saying. As you begin to structure it, you can do the same with your majors. You can do the same. You begin to see how it's laid out for you. I'm a structure person. I like to see systems. And I found that that worked for me. And actually, when I was teaching formal classes, I did it that way. And I still have a couple of my students that are now professionals. You know,
Honestly,
so
I think structures works the best for me too, because explaining it that way makes a lot of sense. However, the court cards are the ones that I really
okay,
struggle
the
with.
court cards are actually very easy.
Are they?
Forget that they tell you they're hard. You know, like that's part of the problem of learning it from a book or learning it from other people. Oh, I
one
can't
person's
figure out the
opinion.
court cards.
It's a
It's
UPT
really
of what
easy.
worked for them.
And you know what? In most places, it doesn't work for them because they always change their ideas. So here it is. You have 4 stages of learning. Because remember, the court cards are human. They're people. They're you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Whereas the others are things that can happen.
The court cards are archetypes.
Well, everything's an archetype. Every single card is an archetype. So forget that part of it. Okay? Look at it from the point of view that you are learning to become a fully fledged human. You do that through your mental abilities. You do that through your emotional abilities. You do that through your passion of who you are, and you do that through your sort of manipulating the world around you. How do you do all that? You got to learn. That's your page. Period. Pages have always been learners.
Okay.
You sort of know something, so you've graduated quote school, and you're that teenager that knows everything better than every adult in the world, and you're going to fight those dragons.
The knights.
You got it. And then you realize, well, you know what? Maybe this world is not that way. You start to have, you know, you're starting to be in the world, and now you know you have to deal with the world. And this is where your learning and who you are come together. That's your queen, or whatever passes for that guardian or whatever. You're the guardian of the environment, or the guardian of whatever knowledge you have.
Okay.
And then you've passed all of those roles that you've played. You have all the knowledge, and you're willing to give it out. That's your elders. I prefer to call them elders to kings.
Okay,
because to me, a
teachers.
king is too solid in his knowledge. He sits on the bloody throne and he won't move.
And he's
That's
arrogant.
the negative side of the king, right?
And the king's arrogant because he thinks he knows everything.
That's right. Without listening to anybody. It reminds me of somebody right now in the world at this point. But you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You understand that is, so it's actually very easy to learn the cards.
It is.
As long as you have a system.
Then my question is, why are the books so drawn out?
Because they're doing it tradition. Because nobody thinks outside the system. Josh,
that's why I have
how many
4
people do you know
tarot
that think outside the system?
Not many. 1, 2,
Bingo.
3%.
Bingo. And remember, the books are published by publishers. And publishers follow certain rules.
Oh,
I
yeah.
learned that the hard way. I wanted to write children's books, or at least I was taking a course in children's writing for children about 30 years ago. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I, first of all, don't live in the States. I see the world quite differently. And at that time, we were not talking about the indigenous people and all the rest of it, but I had just gone to a powwow. And so my little exercise was about a little boy standing in front of the mirror and telling his mother to get lost because he wanted to set himself up. And I wasn't saying what he was wearing or anything else until the very last sentence. The drums have started and my feathers were right. Do you know that editor, because she was an editor for real, didn't like my story because I told it at the end. Bingo. And the children will never get it. I'm sorry, I've worked with children for 40 years. I think I know what children get and don't get. And I've edited that story with the kids.
And it was a nice way to close it off too.
That's right.
It
But
tied everything together.
that was completely lost on this editor.
One person's
That's when
opinion.
I said, forget it.
One person's opinion. That's just like the
Well,
book. One
but the
person's
point
opinion.
is that this was a course, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, if that's her opinion, it's probably the opinion of most people at that point in time. I
And you
didn't have
learned-
time to pursue it, so I told them where to go. But the point was, it taught me about thinking in a box. And
Most
if you
people are
look at the
conditioned.
AI, if you look at the AI now of Facebook and everything else, it's all within a box. AI is built in a box.
Mm-hmm.
You can't think outside the box. And I mean, I don't know if you were following me on Facebook. I know you found me at one point.
Yes, I am.
If you've ever followed me on Facebook, you'll realize I don't think within the box.
Do not.
You know, and I've been shut down a couple, or at least I've been told, improper content by Facebook several times.
Oh, they've censored you.
Yeah. So, you know, like, I mean, they just don't get it. They can't think outside the box. And if you look at most people nowadays, nobody wants to think outside the box.
They want the tried and true methods, or at least what they think. Are
It's
the
not
tried and
only
true
that,
methods.
they want to make the money.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you know
there's
how
no
many
money.
courses I've taken in writing and other things? I mean, I've done a lot of them, some of them on, you know, in live and some of them on Facebook and whatever. Don't invent the wheel, redo the wheel. That is the way they think about it. Marketing courses are all like that.
But people like us want to reinvent the wheel. We want something new and
No,
different.
we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to make it authentic for ourselves. So
But
it's
in
a
the sense
different
that
wheel.
it's reinventing it because it's reinventing it for ourselves.
But this is why the Tarot Phenoms idea came through. Okay, because the idea is that there are many ways. I don't know, there are 9 billion human beings on this planet or so. I don't think any two are the same.
Even twins.
So why should we all be taught in this little box?
No. That's
Okay,
why I have 4
and-
tarot books on my shelf that I've read once or twice, and I'm like, this sucks, and it just sits on the shelf because
Yeah,
it doesn't
well,
resonate with my being.
I should show you my library. I've got a gazillion books that I've picked up over time. And the reason I do is because, well, first of all, as a teacher, I want to find ways to work on the average Joe, under quotation marks. In other words, understanding people's ideas so that I can rebuff them or work around them or get, okay, this is what everybody is saying. How can I make this simpler? Just like I just gave you a whole how to read tarot in what, 5 minutes or less, you know, it's the same idea. Okay, so for me, a lot of the books are there. There's a lot of sort of philosophical books there. I also have some fiction by Rachel Pollack, amongst others, and whatever. You know, so there's a lot on tarot. There is a book called Meditations on the Tarot.
Oh.
Okay, and they don't tell you how to read. They tell you about the card.
Oh. Should I pick that book up?
I'll get it. One book that you should get is probably Mary Greer's book if you don't have it. I'm bring you 2 books.
Mary.
Where's my other one? All right, and that's why I'm downstairs, so I can actually get the books. All right, the book that if you don't have, if you want to learn to read the tarot, is this one. Can you see it?
A little bit farther back. Mary Kay Greer, 21 Ways to Read a Tarot Card. Okay.
It's from Llewellyn.
Okay.
Okay. Publisher.
I have a love-hate relationship with Llewellyn.
Yeah, but her book is phenomenal because she actually gives you many ways to look at one card.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And what I do, like I'm sort of a mentor at the American Tarot Association for people who want to learn to read.
Mhm.
And there's one service that does one card only. So, you know, somebody writes in a question and you have to answer it with the one card that you pulled.
Oh.
Which is really an interesting way to understand the cards, because don't forget, you have to have context. And how do you get this card into the context?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this book is actually very good that way. And you can see I've, I do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Does that go over the
If you want to understand tarot, Liz Worth, who's actually from Toronto, and is a communications, I mean, she was a, how do you call it? A journalist, amongst other things. She's very down to earth and very practical. I love the energy of the book. It tells you what tarot can and cannot do. It gives you ideas to think about how to develop as a tarot reader. Very different from here are the cards.
Okay. Yeah, because that's how
Okay.
most books are. Here are the cards. These are the meanings. Have fun.
Yeah, which is 99% of what's on the market.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's not how my brain thinks.
No, exactly. This book, because I took a course just for fun.
Oh, I might look into that one too. It goes over the psychology behind the tarot and the subconscious.
Yeah, and there are quite a few of them actually. Arthur Rosengarten is not. Yes, he is. He's a tarot reader.
Okay.
As well. There is also James Wanless, who also has several books. Okay, that you might like. Actually, he got me back into tarot. I'll show you that. And this is an old.
Oh, Christian
text.
Hermeticism. Okay, so this is based on ancient text then.
Well, it is an ancient. It's an old text.
Okay.
Okay. Meditations on the Tarot. What do you call it? Over the years, certain books have become international classics. Okay, this is a classic from a long time ago. It's a journey of Christian Hermeticism. Okay, Hermeticism is esoterica. Okay, so it's been rediscovered and republished, but that's another one. That is very out there, esoteric. Okay, but it gives you a way to look at the cards. It gives you a way to think about it. It gives you a different way. Now, speaking of Rosengarten, I'm going to show you the other guy. Oh, 2 other guys.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jessica. I hope I'm not hogging the time. If you have any questions.
No. I find it better if I listen.
Okay, because I can just go on and on and on.
Zone out.
I love learning, so I asked a lot of questions.
Well, anyways, James Wanless.
Intuition at work.
He calls himself the Captain Pick a Card. Okay, and he's got a deck, the Voyager deck, if you're interested. He's got a website based on the Voyager deck. He does classes and everything else. The Voyager deck is collaborative, a collage type deck. So it might work for you, it might not. I found it does not work for me. Rosengarten put out another deck as well. That's also collage, but collage doesn't work for me. So there's that.
I'm gonna look at them real quick. No, that does not work for me.
Okay. No, I'm just saying that doesn't work for me, but that does not exclude what he has to say.
No, because it may work for someone else.
No, but the pictures and what he does, but I'm into psychology, if you haven't figured that one out.
Yes.
So for me, as they bring ideas that work, or at least for me to think through, this is what the book that got me back in, because for a while, like everybody else, we divorced from what we know. Okay. And
I'm just screenshotting all these. I'm gonna take a look at them.
That's okay.
Because this one.
Okay. What's in the cards for you? Test the Tarot, 30 Experiments of Infinite Insight. Mark McElroy actually put out a deck years ago called Bright Ideas. That's out of print and you can't find it for life or money. The artwork is crap. I mean, I like aesthetic art, right? But
Same.
the concept was one of the very first cards that gave you names that were completely different from the typical Rider-Waite. They were perfectly all right, but they were different. So this book is 30 different exercises. And often I use them as the beginning. If somebody is interested but not sure if they want to continue or anything else, these are great exercises to play. Okay, things like making meaning out of cards, what to expect, and then you know, like you pick a card and you try to figure out what it means, and then you go and look at it. He had an exercise, and part of his exercises is almost like a test and a question. So I'm just trying to find on day 21, comparative reading. It gives you a little bit, which gives you an experiment. You do the experiment and then he talks about the experiment and then you go on. So, you know, like it's a text in one respect, but it's a fun sort of like, we used to, it wasn't Choose Your Own Adventures. It one of those programmed textbooks, you know, where you start, you have a pre-test, then you go through and then you have a post-test.
Yes.
That was years and years and years ago, very much. So it comes from that time frame.
Okay.
Okay. But again, it actually was a lot of fun to play with. And it got me thinking about how to do that. You'll notice he's got different sort of like domains.
Planning, predictive, creative.
Yeah. And basically this is, you know, how do you use your tarot? You can use it to plan. You can use it to predict what will happen, who will win the Super Bowl type of thing, you know. You can use it for, I'm writing a book, where do I go next? You know, of course, trying to figure out how people work, the magic, and, you know, you can teach as well. The other one he wrote even longer ago was this one.
Putting the tarot to work.
It's and it's probably, how do you call it, out of print. But do you know the Zed library?
Yes. Very familiar.
Check it out. It might
that.
be there. I don't know. I haven't checked, but it might be there.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the Z library. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
I can imagine.
American.
I use it a lot too. They have a lot of good tarot books in there. If you haven't looked it up.
I haven't looked at the tarot books, but I have seen a lot of books on magic, witchcraft, things like that. In there.
Yeah, but there's a fair amount on tarot. Not so much on Lenormand.
I might be able to find a lot of these books in there then. The ones that you're showing me.
Yeah. Jessica, you're right. But Biddy tends to be more traditional. She doesn't think outside the box all that much.
I don't
Okay,
like the
she's
vibes I
good.
get
Don't
from-
get me wrong, she's good. But I find that, you know, she was better when she first started. She's beginning to believe her own mythology. Okay,
noticed
and
there's
that's what I
something
find
off-
with a lot of people.
Yeah, I found
Never heard of
something off
Biddy
about
Tarot?
her.
Mm?
No, I use Biddy Tarot, but I don't like the energy of the person that created the website. There's
Yeah.
some ulterior motive with her. I just don't like. Yeah, that's
She's
what
a
it is.
marketing
It's money. It's
special-
money.
No, no,
I
she's a
prefer
marketing
Labyrinthos.
specialist.
Labyrinthos. I prefer
Like I
more.
said, at first I liked when she first started. I'm not so sure I like her now, and I've sort of fallen off her bandwagon, partly because I don't think like that.
And she's pushing her tarot courses every chance she get on every part of her website too. I've noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does have a lot of information and it does tell you how to read on certain situations like love, career, money, and I do like that.
Yeah, but you'll see that some YouTubes are better at that,
Oh,
and I find some guys are better than some girls. And I'm being very sexist. Yes, I know, but that's just the way it is. Okay. Because there's, by comparison, there are a lot less males in the system. They
That's
tend
true.
to see things differently.
that
Okay.
is very
So
true.
that's part of it. And that's why it's fun to go to the psychology. I mean, the fact that psychologists are involved, I mean, those are all male. I don't know that many females are involved. You got her book there, Jessica?
No, I've just got two of my own. This one.
That's not a bad one. Yeah.
I've heard of
Yeah,
that
the little
one.
book of tarot is good. But again, for Josh, for you, it'll be a bit too dry.
And then I got this one. This one actually came with a deck. So
Yeah. I can't see the top of it. Oh, the
The
magic,
magic
of tarot.
of tarot.
Who's that by?
Tarot.
Who's it by?
Liz Dean.
Liz Dean.
Oh, Liz Dean. Yeah, she's got some interesting things that I like. Liz Dean has got. She's more into shamanism to begin with, so
Yeah.
she's got a different take on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And the power of the word. Her good books are switch words.
Okay.
Okay, look up switch words, because that one talks about how to use words to get what you want. So that I found was fascinating.
Carry on.
Okay.
These are the books that I have. This one's not really that good.
Well, I probably wouldn't have picked it up.
This one.
That one is Robert Place.
That's a good one?
Yeah, that's a Robert Place book. That's his first version. And that
Okay.
book, how do you call it, is basically very historical, and it's not for reading.
It's not for reading.
It's not to read. It's not to teach you how to read.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's
Okay,
to teach me
that's what I meant.
about the systems.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. He gives you background information on how the cards got to be what they got to be. So I would suggest that it would be much later on than now. Okay.
Okay.
If you're wanting to learn to read cards right now, I really suggest Mary Greer
Very true.
and
I
the
have this one
21.
too.
Yeah, the Gilded Tarot is based on the actual cards themselves. That's part of the deck. I mean, part of the package, right? It came in a package, so it's definitely based that way.
Okay.
If you like the artwork, the deck itself is not bad. Ciro Marchetti is fascinating in his artwork. If you like that kind of art,
I do like
Okay.
that kind of art.
he's got quite a few decks. He's got his own website. I like his artwork. I don't in the sense that book that you were showing, yeah, I know.
Beautiful.
The book that you were showing me is basically a bigger version of what they call the little white books.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's all it really, really is.
This is the one Tina gave me.
Yeah. So, you know, like those are fun things. But again, I would try to avoid the books themselves to a great degree, unless you have a question. I would rather you do something I usually ask my students to do is spread out the cards on a table. Okay. Literally all 78 cards. Here's how you do it. You have all the wands from 1 through 10. You have, and go through them, wands and all the rest of it. And
Okay.
then look at the cards, the story of the actual, look at the wands. Look at the progression of the wands.
Oh.
Find the story across. And then if you have them down, what is the same in each of the ones? What is the same? And do that with any deck. It doesn't have to be the Rider-Waite deck in particular. Okay?
Certain decks, it's
Any
gonna be
deck that
harder.
you have, spread them out. You know, they tell you to have a deck interview. I
Yes.
rather want to see the story behind the deck. So I will spread a new deck all out.
Oh, you want to see how all the cards fit together to create a
That's right.
whole story.
That's
That
right.
I've never done
And then
before.
you start always with the pips because they're easier. Then you can do the same thing with the court cards separate.
Okay.
And then do the same thing with your trumps.
Okay.
Remembering that the 10 does not really exist in the trumps. Okay,
10
so
is
you go
another
1
music
through
game.
9. And the trumps then become 11 is a 2. The 10 is a 1.
Okay.
Okay, so you're reducing them. And then you, as you look down, you can see the energy that happens. Let's say you take the 5. All right, you've got the Hierophant. Then you have, how do you call it? Temperance.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, you know, and you keep going down. And that gives you the big picture. That's how you become intimate with the deck. And it doesn't matter what deck you're using, Josh, eh? You know that. Or Jessica, you know, literally. As you begin to see the story, you begin to make it your own.
I see. I see what you're saying. I've never actually taken the time to look at
No,
a card.
because those books teach you they teach you the details. They don't
teach me to look at the cards. They just say,
Nope.
okay, this is your card. What does it mean? That's it. Move on. Next card.
Because it's so easy to learn to read tarot. Actually, it is very easy to learn to read the tarot, but not the way they're teaching it.
And there's so many hidden symbols you don't notice too, like the symbol of Mercury is there and the Aquarius.
Yeah, but
symbol
that
there.
comes with time, Josh. Don't get caught in that detail.
No, but it's nice to see that is there though, because that does.
Yeah,
teach us
when
the
you're
meaning.
ready, or when it jumps out at you as you're playing with it, gee, I wonder what that is. Then you go in there. Even in the Rider-Waite, you'll see, for instance, the little dog appear and disappear. You'll see the backgrounds appear and disappear. How many cards have, you know, are in a garden?
And the
You
magician
can
is
play
full of
all
symbolism.
kinds of games like that. Find the commonalities between, you know, how many cards have somebody wearing blue?
Oh.
What is the same? What is different? You know, in
Well,
other words,
we're not-
play scavenger hunt.
I've done that a little bit. I've noticed the magician has a lot of different symbolism in it.
Yeah,
And
but
the
only
moon.
when you're ready. Don't do it
Yes.
before you're ready.
No.
Find the stories first. Because once you have the story, then you can tell the story to somebody else when you get 2 or 3 cards. Like Tina will say, what is missing between those 2 pictures? That's
Okay.
when that becomes important because you know the story. If you can visualize every card as you tell the story, you're going, oh, gee, what happened here? There's a deck that actually 2 decks that came out called Before Tarot and After Tarot and In Between Tarot.
Oh.
Okay. And basically, the card is that depicts, let's say, the Fool is the card just before the Fool jumps off the cliff, or just after he jumps off the cliff. Okay, so you've got other views of the decks. This is why the decks are very interesting. And he's looking at me. I'll show you.
I like visual aids. That's one of the best ways I learned.
Well, concept. I don't have all of the whole series because I got the idea of the concept.
Tarot one moment after.
Okay, so
Oh.
quickly at the back.
It's very Rider-Waite inspired.
Well, of course it is. But the point is that what happens after? What's the next step? You know, you get the card. What's the next step that'll happen? That's what you're trying to interpret.
Right.
Okay. And that's the point. Will it be, whoops, will it be this? Or will it be a divorce? You understand?
What are you doing?
So it gives you a chance to look at the card from a different perspective. In the back, I'm looking at the 7 of Cups. You know, and normally we see him staring at the cups. In this case, he's got the cup.
He has the cup that he wanted, and he walked away from the rest of them.
Yeah, that's the
Because
point.
he made a choice.
You see, this is the point of seeing many decks. Because
is
they
true.
look at it and they give you a different perspective of the same picture.
What are you doing?
And not every deck is inspired by or is using Rider-Waite imagery either. I have decks that
That's
have
right.
nothing to do with Rider-Waite.
No, well, the thing is,
You're crazy.
all of them are inspired by the system.
Yes.
And nobody talks about the system. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Thoth, it's all energy, but it's still based on the same system. You know, Tina will go on and on about energies.
Yes.
I'm more practical, you know, down to earth in that respect. So, but the point is, the energies are the same thing.
The different decks are just different ways of interpreting the same energies.
Bingo. Bingo.
That clicks.
No.
That's the point.
Why is it you can explain something to me in 5 minutes that I can't get from reading a 200-page book?
Because most of those books aren't looking at it from outside the box. You understand?
And you think outside of the box because traditional
It's
box,
very hard to put me in a box.
traditional box doesn't work for you.
No, boxes
I'm the
don't
same-
work. As soon
I'm the
as I
same
see
way.
a box, I want to take it apart to see what's inside.
So that's why I have a lot of books that I've read maybe 3 or 4 pages of, and it's just
No,
lost
I would
interest.
suggest that once you get that system inside your head
Mhm.
and work it and make it your own, go back to the books. You'll see
back
it
to
makes sense because you'll be able to pick out what you need at that point to make it real.
And the way you taught me, or you told me that tarot should be read with numerology and things like that. What is the best book for that?
Start with your own knowledge first.
Okay.
Okay. Get comfortable in your system. Work on it. Again, you know, predict or do anything else to see how that system works for you
Okay.
with whatever deck you want. And then go on to the next step. You have to get to the practice now. I can give you
Okay.
theory until the cows come home or not. I
Right.
don't care. But the point is, your questions have to be more precise.
Okay.
Okay. No matter, remember, you're creating something. How do you move the clay?
Mm-hmm.
But before you can move the clay, you have to find the clay.
And
Where are you
I'm-
going to get it?
Right.
Okay. So this is why I'm saying first play. As you play, you have questions. And this is where a journal comes in.
I do have a tarot journal.
Yeah,
It's blank.
but-
So
Never mind the tarot journal, questions. You need a question journal.
oh.
Okay. In the sense that there's a question that comes up. How does that work? Write it down. then come back to it maybe a week later, maybe 2 days later, maybe 10 minutes later, when aha moment came in, or not the aha moment, then you play with that question. Do you understand? This is how it becomes yours. This is how you learned as a child.
I'm thinking too analytically on the tarot, and that's the problem. Because I want to know how everything works instead of.
But
actually
that's
doing the
normal. We
work.
all do. But don't forget, you're now a grown-up, unfortunately. And we have been taught certain ways to look at the world.
Yes, very one-dimensional and one-sided.
That's the point. You understand? And what you need to do now is go back. As a kid, you would build things and break them up and do all kinds of things, right? Without worrying about the consequences. Well, yeah, that too. I know. I've had too many boys around me. Let's see what happens when we put a firecracker in a frog's mouth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did stuff like that. So
yeah,
I
but
know.
That's typical boy. But the point is that question. Yes, we need to question. I mean, the scientific method didn't come out of nowhere. The scientific method was based on kids' play, no matter what anybody tells you. We're here to figure out how things work in this dimension.
We just need to not let our ego tell us what is right, because we don't know what is right. We just know what works for us.
How can any human know what is right? Because they are not, experiencing the world the way you do. We have a consensual reality.
Mm-hmm. The sky is blue, for example.
Been
That's
forced into. But if you're colorblind, you don't see the colors I do.
That's true. There's no
people who
truth.
are partially deaf don't hear the same thing we do. And remember, every dog hears better than us. Okay. Mm-hmm. Bees see ultraviolet. That's how they find their the nectar in the flowers. We can't do ultraviolet to save our lives.
Cats work similar to that too.
That's right.
That's why I'm convinced cats.
When you think about that, our sensors are very narrow. So what you perceive and what I perceive are two different things.
Exactly.
Therefore, you have to find your own system to a great degree. And how do you do that? By questioning, by looking at your answers, by, doing what we call it triangulation. Triangulation of, knowledge is basically getting it from 3 or 4 sources.
And seeing which one resonates the best with you.
Also, which ones collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, like I do, we were talking before, I do a lot of work in the Akashic Record, quote unquote. There's no such thing as the Akashic Record, okay? But the point is, I get some information from there. I will try to also figure it out at the level I need. Pendulums are fantastic for that.
I have several of those.
Well, as long as you use them and have fun with them.
Yes.
But, you also have to understand when you're being tricked by your subconscious mind, because a pendulum is basically your subconscious mind.
The ideomotor effect with it moving and you not realizing you're moving it.
Yeah. So, it's like reading the cards. They might be giving you information, but you're seeing it through a different filter and you don't see it. A bit like what Tina was talking about before.
And ultimately,
aren't
you ultimately reading your subconscious by reading the tarot? Just accessing that part of your brain?
Your subconscious has no reason to be raised or lowered. Okay? And this is the problem. What is the subconscious?
We don't really know.
Bingo. Let's put it this way. We put a name, and this is why I don't like labels. Okay? We put a name on something we don't understand, but we feel. Subconscious is your intuition. Mm-hmm. Subconscious is actually accessing what we would call the Akashic or quantum field. Therefore, there is no subconscious. It's your collective unconscious from all the world around us.
It's not a separate part of you, but we separate it.
Bingo. None of us are separate, Josh. Energetically, we're not.
No.
And that is the fallacy of being in what Tina calls a meat suit.
It's our brain. That's the problem. Our brain thinks it
No,
knows
our
everything.
brain is not the problem. The brain was set up in such a way to function at this level. Okay? I mean, it is our radar. It is there to protect us because we are inside a spacesuit. If the sensors go, you know what? Bye,
Mhm.
right? Just think of what space is like, or if you want deep sea diving. Your spacesuit or your suit catches a leak, you're not going to live.
No.
So the job of the brain is to make sure there's no leak. Catch 22, it is our servant and not our boss.
Oh.
We've turned it into our boss.
And that's where the ego comes from, yes?
Well, you want to call it ego? I would say there's a little more to it. That's another word that I'm not really happy with. When you close your eyes, do you feel that you're still in the third dimension?
Yes. No?
Your dream,
Oh.
okay, or anything else. So as soon as you close your eyes, you are not seeing the 3D world anymore.
Oh.
That is what we call the mind.
You're seeing within yourself.
And that is the in-between what was the subconscious, or whatever you want to call it, and the brain that wants to function. Okay, the brain is actually, if you want, a condenser. Because even science now says it works on 22 different, into 22 different dimensions, I think. Mathematically, that's what they came up with.
Wow.
I'm going like, I can't even fathom 5, you know?
No.
But the point is, it's a condenser. You can think of your, how do you call it, chakra system, whereby
Yes.
you have the universal chakra, then it goes into a smaller chakra called the above the head chakra. I don't know what it's actually called. And then you
Crown
have the crown chakra, you know, and they sort of filter
the
down
soul
until
chakra.
yeah. But you understand the system.
Yes. Yes, I understand the chakra system.
Okay. So that's the whole point. You've got this vast energy field and you are condensing it so you can deal with the 3 dimensions. And the reason the 3 dimensions are here is to understand cause and effect,
Okay.
to understand energy, which is basically cause and effect. So how it's been skewed is that we have sin, we are lousy worms and all the rest of it. No, but do you understand?
I understand.
It's basically the main story that has been sort of disintegrated, you know, perfect misinformation or false news or fake news that has been used for energy in the wrong way. I don't care. I don't believe in, how do you call it, aliens. I believe we are the aliens because we set it up in such a way that we've forgotten a lot of things. There's only one. Okay. And it's interesting that science says that the asteroids is a, how do you call it, a planet that had blown up. Okay, that's one of the theories now, okay, of the asteroids. And before I read that, the lady that sort of intuited, if you want, soul realignment was saying that humans, what we would call humans, in other words, other souls and whatever, were so centered on war because they were learning that kind of thing, that they had all the systems going and they blew up the planet. When they blew up the planet, Mars lost its, how do you call it, atmosphere. And Venus switched.
Oh.
Because the Venus turns different from everybody else. Okay. So, I mean, parts of that I knew, but I'm reading this and I'm going, come on, that makes no sense, you know? And lo and behold, NASA and a couple of others come up with that theory. I'm going, maybe it does make sense. You know, because again, the problem with time is that in this world, it's linear. It's the only way we can handle it.
Yes.
Okay. But in reality, if you look at possibilities and probabilities, whether you call it the quantum field or you call it the Akashic or anything else, it's all the same. Everything's in that one. Everything's in that zero, actually, until we observe it. That's what quantum tells us. So as soon as we observe it, we've stopped it from whatever it was going to be in 1,000 different things. And that has been proven scientifically, that when you look at electrons, or you split electrons, or you do all that kind of crazy science stuff that becomes really crazy, you know, you have them split and they do the same thing 14 kilometers apart. You know, so it's all still united. And this is where our thinking in finite terms becomes very difficult too, because we've been taught that that's the only way to think. Remember, if you're intuitive, you know, you're a little girl and you can't cry and all that kind of crap, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where our problems are with the stories we've been told. And it's not the stories Josh has been told. It's a story that Josh's parents have been told, grandparents, great-grandparents. Mm-hmm. And this is in your DNA because it has been formed by these energies. So when you came down to Earth to be Josh, you accepted these energies because you wanted to work through them. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's basically the theory of what I work with. So on a human level.
And in my world, being pagan, soul contracts, so to speak.
Pardon?
Soul contracts, something similar to that?
You know what? The problem with contracts is that there are two sides to the issues and whatever. I don't like the term contract. I told you I don't like labels. Right. Okay. It's okay. I mean, if that's the way you understand it. The reason you came here is because you wanted to try something out. The reason you are Josh is because you have energies that are stuck to you that need to be worked through.
Okay. And then if we're putting labels on that, traumas, things like that, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to do this as scientifically and least label possible. But the idea is you, as you, the way you were set up by creation, source, God, whatever you want to call it, okay? You were given certain probabilities and certain things. You have certain gifts. You have certain things. And so you decide, hey, let's have fun with this. I'm, you know, like a typical kid, I'm going to go out and jump off a cliff. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you jumped off a cliff and then you had to make decisions. And some of them were good. Some of them let you survive, but were not fantastic decisions to make in the end. And these are what we call karma.
Okay.
And this is why you have to come back and whoops, I made a mistake. You know, like a scientist, you did the wrong experiment. It didn't work. You burnt the house down. Well, you got to build a new house. You know, it's the same sort of thing. So you're here to sort of go, okay, this is what I've learned. This is what I need to learn, but it's all in here, way past you. And you're stuck in this world and you're going, well, that doesn't feel right. That's not what I want to do. And I don't know what I want to do because too many things are pushing you. That's right. You know, so you end up in this kind of like neither here nor there business.
Like a void.
Not necessarily a void because you're being pushed. A void, you wouldn't even be pushed. You'd be sitting in stasis. Okay.
So I'm kind of being pushed in both directions. And there's not like a clear direction of where I feel like I want to go.
But you see, you have your intuition.
Yes.
That tells you what feels right inside you.
That's if we listen to it.
And that's what we've been taught not to do.
Exactly.
Okay. And this is what we're breaking up.
We've been taught to listen to programming and avoid our intuition because what they teach us is right, not what we think.
That's right. And so we are now, you know, like, this is why you have epigenetics. This is why you have you know, like a lot of, even psychology is coming in that direction and various other things.
And I'm learning about
we're trying to understand the energies behind it.
Okay.
because everything is energy.
Yes. That one,
You
that
know?
I've
I
always
mean,
believed.
just because it feels solid doesn't mean it is. It's an illusion. Think of virtual reality. Think of dreams. Dreams aren't real, quote unquote, right? They
Right.
happen in your headspace, quote unquote. But when you're in the dream and you know you're in the dream, it feels so damn real.
Even pain. I've experienced pain in the dream and actually felt that pain. It's wild.
Yeah. But that's the point. Do you understand? Because the brain doesn't see reality or not.
It thinks the dream is real.
Well, look at it this way. How do they train those Olympic athletes? They spend at least an hour visualizing every day what they're going to do.
Oh.
Win or down that slope or whatever, to the point that they know it inside out. They haven't done it, but their body has done it.
So
Because
it becomes an
the
instinct
brain,
at that point.
that's right.
Oh.
This is why psychology is a riot.
Damn, yeah. I am very fascinated right now.
You know, but this is, as I play, I mean, like I said, I spent most of my life working with children, and it has taught me so much about how the human brain works and how much science is a crock.
Yes.
Okay, look at archaeology and history. We've been taught that the Egyptians built how do you call it, the pyramids using slave labor, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, they pulled it and all the rest of it. Do you realize the Egyptian pyramid builders were unionized?
Yeah, they were paid in beer and bread, and that was...
And on top of that, they said it's only 3,000 years, and yet there's water damage on there that would have been closer
They're
to
older.
the young Dryas age or whatever. In other words, it isn't 3,000 years old, and they keep finding things that are older and older and older because they've broken that idea of the 1700s that we were supreme, the best humans there ever was. You know, the misconception of Darwin's theories of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
We're still breaking it. Most of our science is still late 1800s, early 1900s in their headspace.
Yes.
You know, and
Science
that
won't-
is the problem.
Science is in a box. That's the problem. Science won't go outside.
The science
the
has
box.
become the new religion. Look at the way it's been, especially during this pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
It's been turned into a religion. If you dare not agree and you are a scientist, you are literally considered a heretic. And if they could have burned you at the stake, they would have. You lost your job. You lost your thing of talking. You weren't allowed to publish anymore. That's the same thing.
Especially if you said something about COVID not being real or masks not being effective, things like that.
Well, also that their model wasn't working. Never mind going into all the other theories. Okay, so that's part of the thing. You know, and then you have to go with your own heart and see what is really real and not. It's like going to the doctor. First thing he's going to do is push some kind of pill on you.
Naturally.
Yet in Europe, they use Reiki, they use medical intuitives, they use other ways of finding information. Here we have to use those machines.
I didn't know they use medical intuitives in Europe. In the doctor's office?
Not every single doctor, obviously. I mean, you have to buy into this, into the idea. But yeah, it's much more regular.
Oh, wow.
They don't. They have the College of Physicians, but the College of Physicians. Why? Do you realize in Ontario? Well, you're from the States. My next door province, Ontario, wants to deregulate acupuncture, so anybody can be an acupuncturist.
Oh, wow.
At one point, they wanted to regulate anybody who, works with humans, that they had to be trained psychologists. In other words, a spiritual, any director, if you want to call it that, your priests and others would not be allowed to practice. They would have to refer them to. Do you understand what the games are?
Oh, wow.
It's all about money, and who controls? Who controls? And this is a problem with getting your certification in tarot, for that matter, too. Who controls?
Mm-hmm. And who benefits from it as well? Because the person that you're learning from benefits more than you do.
That's right.
Because you're paying to get information you can find on the internet for free.
Not necessarily. What you are paying for is the person's reputation.
And they also had to pay someone to learn, so you're also kind of paying them back for what they've paid to someone else.
See, I don't have a reputation on internet. I don't have a reputation anywhere else. But you learned more from me in those 5 minutes than you did from everything else, from people that have reputations.
And then from any book I've ever read, honestly, I've learned a lot from you in
Well,
the past.
you know why, Josh? Because I was catering to you specifically.
Not just the masses.
That's right. If it was somebody else who was more interested in learning A plus B is equal to C and A plus B is equal to D, therefore A plus D is equal to what? You know, that kind of thing. I probably would have done that, but still skittered into the other because I know how to do that. But the point is, that's how things are. If you have a real teacher in front of you and not a Zoom teacher, okay, if you have a real teacher in front of you, then you actually will learn.
Yes.
And that's the whole point. I'm not out to get you certified, for Pete's sakes. I want you to have fun. And that's the whole thing. And Jessica has been so quiet in her lovely leopard skin. And she's busy trying to figure out what she's doing.
And I've just been talking your head off for the last like 20 minutes.
That's okay. And I'm looking at the time, and I'm going to have to close down shop.
Yes. Oh, wow. It's 3 o'clock already.
That's right. And the problem is, like the kids used to say, Miss, do you know everything? I said, yeah, just push the little button, and and there's no off switch. So, like I said, if you need anything, just, you know, send me a message or whatever, and
I appreciate it.
Okay. You too, Jessica. You've been so quiet. I don't know what you got out of it. I don't know how much you got out of it, but I hope you did get something.
Yeah, I do better switching off and listening, but that's my dyslexia, so.
That's okay. One step at a time.
And I do better by questioning everything to death.
Well, you know what? Questions, some of us are built on questions. That's how we learn.
At least it shows
Some
I'm
people are
interested
much
in-
better at listening and sort of in their heads working it through, but there's still questions there too.
I have to ask the questions or it will drive me nuts if I don't.
Yeah, that's okay. And like I said, that's why you need a question journal.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would suggest is get a, you know, not necessarily a notebook, but have a 3-ring binder type of thing, whatever size you want, and write the question on top, next question, a new page.
Okay.
So that you can go back and look at it. And when you go back to looking at the questions and the answer that might or might not come up, don't ever, judge what comes out. In other words, free write.
Okay.
Okay, without judgment.
I've done a
Because
similar technique with meditation, auto writing.
Yeah, same idea. Because
Okay.
at some point, something will go, I get it. This
Stream
is
of
why I have so many
consciousness.
books.
That's what it's called.
I have so many books because 90% of them won't give me anything but that one little kernel in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like the idea of the over-the-top acupuncture for the 10 of Swords. You know, it's something that kind of hit my fancy, and I'm going, yeah, I like that idea. You know, especially if you turn the card upside down, the swords fall out.
And if you look at the swords, they do look like needles in a way as well.
Yeah, that's the point. That's where it came from, you know. But I mean, it's just an interesting way of perceiving it. And if you think of the swords as acupuncture from A to Z, how does that fit in the story? I mean, you know, you can play with it.
And it makes it fun to learn the tarot too, because you put your own kind of
That's right.
spin into it.
And that's why I said you have to find your own spin. Nobody else can do it for you.
No.
I can give you ideas, I can push you in certain directions, but ultimately it's yours.
I need to start by spreading it out and seeing the story.
For me, that would be the best thing, especially if you're partial, if you're visual,
Yes.
then very definitely find the story. Pretend this was how do you call it, a graphic novel.
Okay. And I'm writing the characters.
You're writing the
starting
storyline and the characters.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Fool's a character, the Magician's a character. But they
Yeah,
also have a
but
story to tell.
I would say, yeah, but before you even get to the majors, do the minors first, because that's the easier part.
Do the minors first.
Okay, and it could be the same character. Today he's going to go and do that kind of thing or whatever, and work it through that way. Working with the minors is actually easier in the beginning, because then it gives you the structure for the majors. That's
Okay.
another thing they don't do in the books. They always start with the majors, because those are the most important cards in the deck.
But those aren't even in the original tarot. The majors came last.
The majors were the original tarot.
Oh wait, were they?
The pips were never.
The pips were never. I thought it was the other way around. I thought the pips
No.
were first.
This is where reading Robert Place, you would get that.
Okay.
Okay, Robert Place is historical.
So this book might have what you were talking about with that in there.
And again, read it from the perspective of learning about, not learning the tarot.
Learning the history of tarot rather than how to do tarot.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
And it's dense, but it's a lot of fun.
And it has a bibliography to look at other sources too.
Oh yeah, he did his, and this is his first version of the book. Tina and I got the second version that came out because she thought it was a different book. But talk to the library and you get to know which ones are, expansions of the other. And the second book is twice as thick as the first book.
Oh,
He's
wow.
done a lot more research.
Oh,
So
you
he talks
don't
about
need
a lot of
philosophy.
things. Yeah. He talks a lot about things, but take it in small doses.
So it's not a binge read. It's something you slowly read and absorb then. Otherwise, my brain
You
will
don't learn
explode.
an encyclopedia from A through Z.
No.
Okay. It's like that. You jump in, you read a little bit. There is more of a story line or timeline if you want in that one. But don't think that that's going to help you, quote, learn to read the tarot tomorrow.
No, but it'll answer some of the questions I have about the history of tarot.
That's right.
Where the symbolism
Yeah,
came from.
total of interest.
And
To
that's
learn to
one of-
read the tarot tomorrow, that will help you most is the Mary Greer book.
Okay.
Okay.
I can get a hold of that. I'll see if it's on the Z library.
It's on, I'm pretty sure it's in the Z library. I think
Perfect.
I saw it there.
Perfect. And let me make sure
Okay.
I have that. Is that the 21 ways to read the tarot?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I should let you go because it's getting on 3:30, but I really, truly appreciate everything you've done, Mary.
Oh, enjoy. It's fun. Enjoy. And that's the whole thing. It's a game. As long as we remember it's a game. Yes, it can get pretty exciting at times, but it's still only a game. And so is life.
That's
Okay.
true. Okay.
So as long as we remember that and keep smiling and trying to not get caught in all the crap, then
Don't take
we're all
it seriously.
fine. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going to say goodbye as well. Jessica, I hope you got something out of all this in spite of jumping in and out. Anyway, so we'll see you next time. Definitely not Saturday. 9:00 is just not working for me.
I don't know if I'll be even awake
But
at that
it'll be
time.
next Thursday,
Next Thursday.
2 to 4.
At 2 to 4. Okay.
Okay. We're trying to figure out what works best for most people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll see you next Thursday. Have a
Alright, sounds
great
good.
week.
You too.
Stay warm,
You too.
wherever that is.
I'm in Ohio, so I'm
yeah,
I'm
keep
close to
smiling.
Ontario.
Take care.